Hello and welcome back to a brand new episode of the Pick a Side podcast. My name is Joel Moran and I'm here with River Brown, Andrew Velez, and Joe Dehls. And this is now episode 354. In this episode, we're going to talk about how to fix the All-Star game, the Nets firing Jacque Vaughn, discuss what the opening of the franchise tag window means for certain players, predicting quarterback landing spots, and more. This is now episode 354, and fellas, it's time to lock in. Beginning of the show, Magic Mind. Shout out to Magic Mind, man. You know how it goes.
One gulp.
Take an energy shot.
You're good at that.
Get locked in for the show.
Thanks for that recognition, bro. I appreciate that.
You know, I love Magic Mind. It tastes good.
It does.
I like how it tastes. Mm-hmm. And it's a coffee
Substitute.
replacement. Yeah, substitute. You know, I don't like drinking coffee.
Tastes amazing. Caffeine
is it makes me jittery. And Magic Mind helps me with that. I get the focus without the side effects of caffeine.
You strike me as like a very top-notch coffee guy, like very specific coffee drinks. That surprises me.
That's not me. I know. You just stereotyped me. I don't know why.
I'm a slut for some caffeine.
Because I'm that way.
Ooh, it's a good. Is that really?
You get me to Starbucks, get me some cold foam on top, a little vanilla in there.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, what's your drink at Starbucks?
I don't know because I was having a drink. They have seasonal drinks, and I just had one, and it went away. I haven't had Starbucks since. It's been like a month, 5 weeks. I haven't got Starbucks.
I'm not really a buy coffee kind of guy. I usually just do the Keurig K-Cups, have it black.
I wouldn't be able to get
That's
Starbucks
nuts.
every day.
I'm a Dunkin' guy.
Dead like $8-10, bro. I'm like, there's no way I just spent $10 on it.
He's a Dunkin' guy.
Oh,
he's a Dunkin' guy, but he's a large hot chocolate with 8 sugars.
Extra large.
Find God, bro.
You're not a coffee drinker.
That's the only
That's
extra
normal.
large hot chocolate they sold all year, by the way. No one else.
It's always me.
No one else has ordered an extra large hot chocolate.
Let me ask you a question.
Probably
man.
ever.
I've actually,
ever.
public announcement, I've stopped putting sugar in.
Wow.
Like, not a single pack.
That's a step.
Not a single pack.
No,
I'm giving you recognition.
I appreciate that. It
I
used
was
to be
gonna
5. Used to be 6. Then I dropped it to 3.
So you're not a coffee drinker.
No.
Well, and that's why you got to use Magic Mind. You know, Magic Mind have been kind enough to sponsor this episode, and you get 1 month for free when you're subscribing for 3 months at www.magicmind.com/pickaside. And with our code PICKASIDE20, you get an extra 20% off, which gets you to 56% off a subscription. Those are our last ones left. Next episode, we got to lock in.
Oh, that's the 4 for us.
Yes.
Facts.
Next episode.
You just said that.
Unfortunately,
No, it makes sense. But I didn't know there was only 4 left.
Sorry, bro.
We got to reorder.
Yeah, we
Get locked
need to
in
re-up.
next
It's a
month.
fact.
Let's go Magic Mind. Today was the start of the NFL franchise tag window. We're going to talk about players that potentially can't get franchise tagged. I'm excited for the NFL offseason. I feel like there's going to be a lot of player movement, especially at the receiver position.
I hope you're right about that.
And
Not
I'm
too
excited
sure.
about the draft.
The draft's going to be lit. Draft's always lit. Player movement, I am a little concerned about it for the idea that you mentioned the receivers. The best ones, we're going to talk about it. I fear they're all going to get tagged. I hope that that's not the case. I would love to see some of these best guys, some of these top guys go and move to new teams. But that is my genuine fear. The tag kind of removes a lot of fun when it comes to the NFL. No, it's my least favorite thing about the NFL. I feel like it's a super unfair advantage that front offices have, and it's a huge smack in the face to some franchise players that they feel like, we don't know if you're a franchise player yet. Let's just try and give you 1 more year to prove it. It's like Kirk Cousins got, jerked around for how many years?
I do think being able to do it multiple years in a row is insane.
It is.
It's super whack.
I don't dislike the franchise tag. I feel like there are some instances where it can get a bit excessive.
Did they do the same to Dak, if I'm not mistaken, also?
They did. They franchise tagged him once, and then they give him a long-term deal. I think it's just a great way to give a player guaranteed money for that said season and try to negotiate a contract. The difference with the NFL and the NBA is that in the NBA, if you have a player under contract, you can exceed the salary cap and pay him because you have the bird rights. But with the NFL, the salary cap is what the salary cap is. There's ways to maneuver around it, but all that does is push the money back further and further and further. It's still money you eventually have to pay, and the salary cap is very real. So I feel like the franchise tag just helps teams work around the salary cap and try to retain their best players.
I agree. No, it is solely in benefit of front offices.
I feel like being able to do it for repeated years though is a little crazy.
Yeah,
like maybe
you could do it
once.
too, and then they
Also,
are unrestricted free agent.
I was going to say the restricted free agency is a big difference in the NBA and NFL too, where the NBA, you're a restricted free agent before you get your big first contract, right? You still go into
they can match
it's restricted. They can match
yeah.
it. We saw that with like DeAndre Ayton in the past, and the NFL, you don't.
Pacers did the good thing.
Yeah, they did. You don't
the
really
Pacers
see it.
should be thanking the good Lord that the Suns decided to match.
But in the
Suns
NFL,
just
you
couldn't let
don't
him go
really
for
see
nothing.
restricted free agency in the NFL because it's three or less seasons as an NFL player you could be restricted free agent, and most contracts are at least 4 years. So you typically don't see it, and that just adds another 3 or 4 years that the NBA franchise has held over their player compared to the NFL, where it's 5 for a first-round pick.
It just depends, man, because there are some players that the franchise tag is good because you get guaranteed money. You know, there's always a risk of injury. But for example, Tony Pollard with the Dallas Cowboys, this past season, he got $11 million. He was franchise tagged. In the open market, I mean, based off what the running back value was, maybe you're getting $6 to $8 million a year. So the guaranteed money kind of helps. But
especially when it comes to running backs, I feel like they abuse the franchise tag more than any other position. But again, it does make sense because running back value is hard to really dictate going forward, especially given some players we've seen late into their careers, especially this season with Raheem Mostert, CMC's getting up there in age, and they've had some successful seasons. Derrick Henry, not the best, most efficient year, but he was at least somewhat productive. But then, of course, you look at the adverse friend of the show, Austin Eckler, who unfortunately is not that good and is up for a contract, and he may be there's a potential that he gets franchise tag, which I doubt. I don't think that would be a smart move by the Los Angeles Chargers. But yeah, there's some give, there's some take with the running back position. But in that situation, Tony Pollard was coming off a great year. I think that somebody would have given him some money. It's not like we haven't seen running backs, say Aaron Jones, Alvin Kamara, Dalvin Cook. Like there's some Joe Mixon's another one. Like, hey, you are an above average running back. Tony Pollard, or at least coming into the season, was an above average running back. He probably would have got some money, but it all is situational, of course.
Missed 40-plus touchdowns in 2 of the last 3 seasons.
He fell off this
It's
year.
not good?
And he got injured. It's unfortunate and sad.
You saw what
Austin Eckler.
Tony Pollard said, though? He said
did he
that
say?
he didn't feel fully healthy till week 9 of last season. And if you look at his numbers
Believe
post
it.
week 9, you look
Yeah.
at like missed tackles forced, like elusive rating on PFF, all those advanced numbers, you could see a pretty big difference between weeks 1 through 8 and 9 through the rest of the season.
Yeah, a player like him who wants to get a new contract for multiple years, you got to play through those injuries, unfortunately,
You do.
because then they use them against you in negotiations, but they're going to use something against you regardless. Poor play, health. It's one of those. NFL is definitely a cutthroat. That's not the best part
If
about
Austin
it.
Eckler was due for a contract last season, we're seeing him get an insane bag, but just unfortunately
so?
the way it works. 40 touchdowns in 2 years.
He's getting probably like $10 million a year. Now he's not getting half that, if I'm being honest.
No, honestly, he will get signed by a team, but nowhere near the money that you would expect him to get.
He made money. It says right here he made 6.25 in 2023. So maybe
That's off
he
his
can
last
get
contract.
Maybe he can get the same amount.
I don't know if anyone's giving him 6.
I hate that for him. I really
Was
do.
CMC getting paid 14? Is it 14?
So yeah, somewhere in that range.
The tag will be 11, so they're not giving him the tag.
CMC making 14 is the blessing for all teams because no running back deserves more money than CMC.
Yep.
He's the best one in the league. I don't know what you guys want to start with first. You guys want to start with the NFL first? Or you guys want to jump into some NBA stuff?
I'm happy to talk about some NBA.
We just talked about the franchise tag.
Yeah, you
Are we going
kinda
to talk about franchise tag players, maybe?
You kind of
Yes.
started.
Oh,
already?
okay. That's why I figured.
That's what I'm asking, because we gave kind of a preview to franchise tag, but it wasn't a segment.
That's why I was so confused, because the first segment on the show doc is just not this. And I was like, oh, we switched it up.
Yeah, I thought you made that game plan.
No, I didn't. I made the game plan to start with the NBA first, but we were having such a great conversation talking about the franchise tag that I thought it sort of made me stay
you
on
brought up the
tag.
franchise tag. That's why I
yeah.
thought we were getting
Usually
into the
Because
franchise tag topic.
I think that is the headline of the show.
Okay, let's do it.
I think it's the most important thing
Also,
in the show to talk
We can
about.
talk for sure.
Let's do it. I mean, we got Kirk. We got T. Higgins up there.
All right,
Maybe
so
we
let's
should've
blow
been
our
first.
load. First topic of the show.
We're already here now.
At this point,
Yeah,
we're already
this
talking
one,
about the franchise tag.
The tag deadline is March 12th. So teams have 2 weeks to figure out.
We're gonna go team by team, or
No, not team by team. Just you could go with the most important player that you think
There's a list.
will
here,
get
too.
tagged or will
ESPN
not
put out
get
a
tagged.
list.
The deadline is March 12th.
Send me the list, Dehls.
Today, February 20th, the franchise tag window opened. March 5th, it closes, which means teams have 2 weeks to negotiate a long-term contract. So for those of you that are trying to learn about how this stuff works, the franchise tag is essentially a way for a team to elongate the negotiation process for that said player. So if a front office cannot agree to a contract extension with the player that they want to keep, they will franchise tag them and then extend that process one more year to try to get a deal done. There are some big name players that are up for a tag. These are going to be important decisions. We have T. Higgins, Michael Pittman, Josh Allen, Brian Burns, Chris Jones, and L'Jarius Sneed for the Chiefs, Kyle Duggar, Patriots, Justin Madubuike, Ravens, Jonathan Grenard, Texans, Antoine Winfield, Baker, Mike Evans, Jalen Johnson. A lot of star players.
A lot of stars.
So which one do you guys want to mention first? I'll start with you, Drew. Who do you think is the biggest one on this list?
Biggest one on this list is most likely L'Jarius Sneed, given the fact that, of course, he is one of the premier corners in this game, and especially a position as valuable as that one. And understanding that if the Chiefs want a chance at going to be the first team ever in NFL history to go back-to-back-to-back, L'Jarius Sneed is a huge piece to that. We understand Trent McDuffie is great in his own right, but understanding with L'Jarius Sneed, they become the best secondary in football. And I single out L'Jarius Sneed because I believe Chris Jones will be back. I think that understanding he already went through this franchise tag process. They already tagged him once. He will most likely get his deal. But I think L'Jarius Sneed, it'll be interesting how they handle the situation where I believe they will tag him, as it'll be most cost-effective or the cheapest for the team to do so. But it'll be interesting to see if it does burn them in the future, unless they win a championship and L'Jarius is just like, all I know is winning. Why not just stay? But the cornerback position, especially for the Chiefs, is extremely valuable, where they have something that not many teams do. They have an elite secondary. In today's league, obviously we understand how valuable that is. So to me, I'll highlight L'Jarius Sneed. And then to get to the fun position, of course, we're talking about the wide receiver. Unfortunately, I believe both of these guys are going to be franchise tagged, and that's Michael Pittman, and that is T. Higgins. Now, T. Higgins, of course, coming off of his worst year of his career, but of course that was also due to injury, where he only played 12 games, and then on top of it, no Joe Burrow. You understand that T. Higgins is a great talent. His skill set is very specific, though. He is a bigger, more physical wide receiver, and he can make plays down the field. But if you're the Bengals, you cannot allow T. Higgins to just hit the open market. He's too good. He's too valuable. And you get one more year of running it back with, of course, Joe Burrow, Jamar Chase, T. Higgins, and Joe Mixon, or maybe a Chase Brown, depending on what they decide to do with the running back position there. But you need to make sure you bring back T. Higgins. Even if that's not something that I may want, I would like to see T. Higgins be a number one receiver on a different team that is more wide receiver needy, but you solidify those guys as still one of the best duos in the league. And then Michael Pittman, who really emerged this season as one of the better wide receivers in the league, doing it with a backup quarterback in Gardner Minshew. He's simply too good to allow to hit the open market as well. He either will get a franchise tag or will get a long-term extension, because they can't afford to allow a position of that value, especially how thin theirs is, to hit the open market. Michael Pittman means a lot to them. With Anthony Richardson coming back this season, you want him to have a reliable option consistently, and that is Michael Pittman. So to me, those are the three guys that I will highlight. But number one, I do believe it is L'Jarius, because he means the most out of all these players available to his team winning a championship.
It's also tough for teams to get creative with contracts when you franchise tag a player, because this is a 1-year deal. There is no way to add void years to this specific franchise tag.
Stuff.
Exactly. Everything, when we say it's a $22 million franchise tag number, that's the $22 million hit you're gonna be taking on your salary cap. So Drew mentioned a bunch of guys that's probably the top of the market. One thing about the Bengals, though, is Joe Burrow's his big cap number, where the spike is in 2025. So it's around 28 million this upcoming season. And then in 2025, that's when it starts approaching nearly $50 million as a cap hit. So they want to keep that core together with Jamar Chase, who's going to get probably a record-breaking deal, unless Jettas does it after him for a day. And then Joe Burrow, who signed a nearly $300 million extension last offseason, who's, of course, getting his money. But I think you have to pay up in some circumstances. A player that I'll highlight is Brian Burns, defensive lineman from the Carolina Panthers. the Panthers might be the least talented team in the NFL. They had an opportunity in the past to trade Brian Burns for 2 first-round picks. And on one hand, you say, well, we traded away our best player. On the other hand, those 2 first-round picks could help accelerate a rebuild, which you desperately need, because it wasn't too long ago where the New York Jets had this phenomenal safety, one of the best safeties in our franchise history, and we needed a rebuild bad. The Seattle Seahawks called us. We got 2 first-round picks, and that helped rebuild us into the team we got today. That turned into Garrett Wilson and AVT, who, of course, Garrett Wilson's one of the best in the game at one day, and AVT's got to stay healthy, but he's also a phenomenal offensive player. But this is a big decision for the Panthers because the number for the edge rushers this offseason for the franchise tag is $23 million, and I think Brian Burns will probably get more than $23 million on the open market, so it makes sense to franchise tag him and then try to come to a long-term extension. If I'm the Panthers, I have such little talent, and I don't really have a need to, or I don't think a lot of free agents are going to be coming to us anyway unless we really have to overpay them. I would be looking to bring back probably the best player on my team in Brian Burns. They've been going back and forth to contracts for like 3 years now, but I'm hopeful that this is the offseason that could get done.
What do you got, Riv?
I thought you were going to go in front of me. All right, so you mentioned the stars. I'm looking at this list. I think Jalen Johnson's a guy I want to highlight. You know, a player for the Chicago Bears, a team that kind of last season had its little ups and downs. You know, started off a little weak, but then when they got Montez Sweat,
there it goes.
Then they started to perform a lot better. The defense started to play at a high level. You know, you started to see
way back in.
You started to see a change and a shift on that defense. And Jalen Johnson was one of the biggest reasons for that, of course, too. I believe he made All-Pro last year, second team, which is great. So now he can walk into negotiations with kind of a little bit of a leeway. Like, no, I deserve to reset the cornerback market, which I don't think he should. You know, I think there's other corners that are clearly better than him. Get his. But for sure. And if he doesn't, Chicago's in a position where they have enough cap. They can give him that guaranteed tag. You know, that's somebody that they can place still while working out the talent on this roster. But I think this is a guy they shouldn't tag. I think this is a guy they should definitely work to give a contract to. You know, he's 24 years old, just had the best year of his career. And, you know, like you said, a part of the timeline and in a defense that doesn't have an insane amount of star talent. Jalen Johnson's one of those guys that could break out into that star talent. That could be the guy that'd be another shutdown corner in football. So that was one guy I wanted to highlight. I did have another one. Was from Miami, your team, Christian Wilkins. Yeah, that's the guy.
I was thinking about that one too.
It's interesting because Miami's defense last year wasn't a good beginning. Ramsey came back. They started to be elite. But, you know, you saw the competition was a little funny. But nonetheless, they played well. But I think Wilkins, he had a career year last year. He was elite for the Miami Dolphins for a team that's predicated on an insane offensive output, a team that's going to have to pay Tua this grand contract soon, which they got to figure. 50 M's is nuts. And that's a lot of money.
Do it. Please, I'm begging.
That's something they got to figure out also. You know, this Wilkins contract isn't going to be a little bit difficult to kind of go around. You know, you can tag him for the year, but you have to remember next year you're paying your quarterback soon, and that's a lot of money to go to for, you know, a mid-level quarterback.
Listen, there's only some players on here that I think move the needle when it comes to the contenders next season. I think the most important one is the Chiefs with Chris Jones and L'Jarius Sneed. Chris Jones' franchise tag number is $32 million. I think it's unlikely that the Chiefs franchise tag him. I think he will get a long-term contract extension. L'Jarius Sneed is a tricky one because I don't know if they can afford to pay him. Part of me feels like they might end up losing him, and I hope they don't because I think he really exemplifies what the Chiefs are and what they have been, and he fits Spags perfectly, and I would hate for him to go to another situation that doesn't utilize him in the way Spags does. But I'm hoping that both of them get their deals done. Chris Jones, I think, is number one priority, must stay. He has to be there. L'Jarius Sneed, it's a priority, but the Chiefs have been drafting corner. They have been kind of eyeing for this day where they have to pay L'Jarius Sneed. They let Charvarius Ward walk. They draft Trent McDuffie in the first round. And if there's a draft class to need a corner, offensive tackle, it's this one. There's a lot of corners in the top 100, so they could draft a corner in one of the first 2 days of the draft. Then it's T. Higgins. I agree with Drew. I don't think he's going to go anywhere. I think the Bengals are going to run it back one more season. You can't afford to pay Jamar, Joe Burrow, and T. Higgins. That's just not going to happen. But for this 1 year, one last go-around, you can't lose T. Higgins on top of losing Awuzie, who I think will walk in free agency, and DJ Reader, Tyler Boyd as well. DJ Reader's 30, has some injury concerns, and he's going to demand a lot of money. And this is a draft where you can get a defensive lineman. So I think the Bengals will tag T. Higgins. I found this interesting stat. So since 2014, the teams leading in cap percentage to quarterback and wide receiver rooms were the 2014 Dolphins. They went 8-8. The 2015 to 2017 Falcons, so they were leading in that 3 years in a row. They were 8-8, Super Bowl loss, divisional round loss. 2018 49ers, they went 4-12. The 2019 Vikings, 10-6, divisional round loss. The 2020 Colts, 11-5, wild card loss. 2021 Packers, surprisingly, they went 13-4, divisional round loss. The 2022 Commanders, 8-1, missed the playoffs. And this past season, the 2023 Broncos, you allocated the most money to your quarterback and receiver room, and you guys went 8-9. This formula tells me that long term, you just can't allocate so much money to just quarterback and wide receiver when you need offensive line, defensive players. No team has won a Super Bowl in the last 10 years doing so. So I think this will be the last ride for T. Higgins. Hopefully they can get it done this year because he's a phenomenal player. And last season, when they were healthy, which wasn't long, they only played 161 snaps with Burrow, T. Higgins, and Chase all healthy. They were number one across the board outside of EPA per play, where they were second only behind the 49ers when all of them were healthy. The three healthy games were the Seahawks, the Bills, and 49ers, which were some of their most impressive showings of the season. I think who's not going to get tagged, unfortunately, it breaks my heart, but I don't think Bryce Huff is getting tagged.
I don't think so.
The tag point, like you mentioned, the price point is $23 million. Bryce Huff, I think he deserves that, but we drafted Will McDonald in the first round of this past draft. The year before that, we drafted Jermaine Johnson, who's coming to his own, who I think will be a Pro Bowl player. So I think that leaves little to no room for Bryce Huff.
They paid Quinnen already, so you already got this superstar level interior guy. And just the holes for the Jets, man. They have to focus a lot on the offense.
100%.
Front office knows that. Saleh knows that. So basically signing a 1-year, $23 million contract, and that's going to take up a whole bunch of restructures and all different types of stuff you could do. It just makes it more challenging. So Bryce Huff, we were just talking about before the show, he's going to go somewhere and ball, and I'm prepared to him to have a 15-plus sack season. But unfortunately, the Jets dug themselves this hole. So
I'm prepared for everybody to say, why did the Jets let this guy go? And we're explaining to you right now, the money just doesn't work. It doesn't make any sense.
Have you seen our offense? We have two players. Two weapons, I should say.
We need to revamp the offensive line. We need to revamp the receiving room outside of Garrett Wilson. And I think we will address those holes in the offseason.
The Jets will pay.
Yes.
It doesn't always work out, but they'll pay.
That's a fact. I think that the players that don't get franchise tagged, unfortunately, are all the running backs that are due for a contract. I don't believe Josh Jacobs will get another tag. I don't believe Saquon will get another tag, although if there were any running back to get a second one, to me, it would be a Saquon Barkley, understanding that the Giants just need weapons, and losing Saquon, their best weapon, would be pretty detrimental.
It could also save some money cutting Darren Waller, too. I think it's about
That's a
$12
fact,
million.
which is also a strong possibility. And then the last one would be a Tony Pollard. I want to say Tony does go back to the Dallas Cowboys, understanding that unless they address it in the draft, which is possible, Rico Dowdle, not a bad player in the limited opportunity that we saw him play, but there really wasn't that much depth for the running back room in Dallas. And understanding, like Joel mentioned earlier on in the show, that he needed some time to get fully healthy this season. And when he finally was healthy, you finally saw Tony Pollard really play at a high level, or the level that you were at least anticipating with Tony. I think Tony, of the three, is obviously going to be in the best situation, being in Dallas's offense. But I think Josh Jacobs will be an interesting one on the open market. I think that he will go to a team and make them better. And then Saquon Barkley, where there's already some rumors saying that he follows some Houston Texans players, that would be an insane fit with the Texans. Saquon Barkley, with hopefully Tank Dell coming back, Nico Collins, Dalton Schultz, who is also ironically due for a franchise tag. He'd be going from $6 million to $12 million. And of course, the franchise, CJ Stroud. That's going to be a very fun offense. You saw what they were able to do with Devin Singletary. Imagine what happens with Saquon Barkley.
A lead nickname, if that is his nickname.
Franchise? And I just gave it to him.
Well, shout out to you. Trademark it. Get him paid.
The franchise.
He's the franchise. He is the franchise.
I think Pittman gets paid.
I think he gets the contract.
I
sure.
think he gets the contract. I think, with his young age, the year he just had 1,100 yards, 4 TDs. And he didn't get to share the field with AR, which is what they would have hoped. And then Jonathan Taylor, he broke on late in the year. I just think their offense is so young, and they're all around the same age. And with that wide receiver core not being as great as you like. Downs, he showed flashes. Pierce, whatever, but Pittman Jr. is really the crown jewel of that core. You kind of want to keep him locked in next to AR. You want to pay him. But I noticed we didn't talk much about Josh Allen from the Jaguars.
So I was going to bring up next. Yeah.
Oh, you know what? Floor is yours, Dehls.
No, because the Jaguars and Panthers are in two different situations, I think. Right? The Panthers are complete rebuild, and the Jaguars want to be contenders. I'm not calling them want to be, but they want to be contenders.
You can call them want to be.
I just don't know if they're contenders right now. But you have Josh Allen, who's coming off franchise record, 17.5 sacks. He was 6th in pressures. He's been phenomenal, especially this past year. He was really good. I'm looking at the Jacksonville Jaguars salary cap table right now. And of course, you can make moves and you could restructure and do different things. They have $11 million in salary cap. That's before making any adjustments. To pay Josh Allen, that's 1 year, $23 million. And you have some holes, I think, on offense. You have Calvin Ridley, who's a free agent, who I think is going to end up walking because they'd have to give a second-round pick. You have some holes on the offensive line, and there's some other issues on this defense as well that has to be filled. But Josh Allen's been so damn good for them.
He has.
And he's another player that they drafted, top 10 pick. We're able to develop him. He wasn't this locked-in superstar that he kind of broke out to be this season. We were waiting for the breakout season, and he had it now in his contract year. So I think the Jaguars end up re-signing him because if they let him walk, the defense gets even weaker than, in my opinion, I think it is right now. And edge rusher becomes a huge need for them. But it's going to be hard to fill a lot of these other holes. You let Ridley walk, now you need a receiver. This offensive line needs some work. As I mentioned, there's some issues on this Jaguars team, and we've been talking about Michael Pittman and the Colts, how great they are. Houston, if they get Saquon Barkley, it's crazy to think a year ago, it seemed like this was the Jaguars division to own for the next decade. And now you look up and you have one definite superstar quarterback. And I think AR is going to be right up there with Trevor Lawrence and Stroud if he's able to stay healthy. But Josh Allen's going to be a huge free agent for them.
I think it's unfortunate with the Jaguars because this was supposed to be the year that the division was the easiest, but it ended up being tougher than everybody expected. And one thing that caught me by surprise was how much talent the Jaguars lacked. They have a lot of top-end talent, but the offensive line isn't good. They got zero push. The receivers, I thought they were trying to come into their own. I don't think it's a terrible group. The offensive line is the biggest concern for me. And Josh Allen is the only place they generated pressure from. Their linebackers aren't very good. Devin Lloyd has been a disappointment.
Trayvon Walker has been...
He's been good. He's actually been good.
You anticipated him to be better, especially when you drafted him over Aiden Hutchinson.
I don't think it's that big of a gap. I think Trayvon Walker...
Why are you disrespecting Hutchinson?
No. I think Trayvon Walker is a great player.
8 sacks in 4 games to close out the season.
8 sacks for Aiden Hutchinson?
If I'm not mistaken.
No, those are great numbers.
Yeah,
those are great numbers, but Trayvon Walker is great in his own right. He's not a bad
Make
player.
sure I'm not chatting. I'm almost positive.
Look up pass rush win rate.
He's not a bad player at all. Josh Allen is the majority of the pressure. That's why I think he's going to come back. And like you mentioned, I think Calvin Ridley is going to walk. The Jaguars have so many holes to fill. And I think because of the hype they got walking into the season, we look at them as a team that is a little bit more talented, but I think they lack a lot of talent. I wanted to bring up...
Aiden's nuts. He's nuts.
I wanted to stay on the T. Higgins point because I don't think the Bengals get enough credit for drafting day 2 wide receivers. It happens every 4 years. Their director of player personnel, his name is Duke Tobin.
Is Auden Tate on this list?
He's not. 2012, 2016, 2020. Can you guys guess the receivers that Duke Tobin drafted in each year? We'll start with 2012.
He was with Cincy this whole time?
Yes.
AJ Green?
Tyler Boyd.
No, AJ Green is the first round.
Tyler Boyd.
Tyler Boyd, you got one right. That was
2012?
2016.
Tyler Boyd was the
I
first
thought you
guy.
said 2012. That's why I went AJ.
Tyler Boyd was the first guy out of the 3 that got drafted first. I remember. I was a big fan.
Oh, God.
Wait, so you just said 2016?
2016 is Tyler Boyd.
Simpson? I don't know.
You can start with 2022 if you want.
Jamar Chase.
Well, no. T. Higgins is 2022.
So you got 2 of the 3. You got Tyler Boyd 2016. You got T. Higgins 2022.
2012.
I'll give you a hint about the 2012 receiver. He is a receiver that can also throw the ball.
Terrell Pryor?
No.
That's a good one.
It's a good guess.
Receiver that could also throw the ball.
Was it Mohamed Sanu?
It was Mohamed Sanu.
2012.
Well done. I was thinking way too hard about that one.
I remember he used to launch that shit sometimes.
What's his name? Jerome Simpson? That's who I was thinking of?
He might have been.
That he did the flip into the end zone that everyone was freaking out about.
He was drafted day 2, Mohamed Sanu, then Tyler Boyd, then T. Higgins, and now it's 2024. So the theory is that Duke Tobin will draft the receiver in day 2, and this is a receiver depth-heavy draft class.
Mm-hmm. For sure.
They land Keon Coleman on the site.
You're a Keon Coleman fan?
I like Keon Coleman.
Okay.
I feel like as the year progressed, people became less and less on him because I think he has a drop problem, or I'm thinking of Johnny Wilson, or I think his drop percentage.
Johnny Wilson does have a huge drop problem.
Johnny Wilson's going to be a good pick for someone now. Because he's going to be like day 2, day 3, and he's going to go to a good ass team.
You're just saying that because he's tall. Johnny Wilson's 6'7", but like he does nothing that good.
He's a body.
Steve Smith destroyed him. Is that who he's talking about?
Johnny Wilson, the 6'7" guy?
Yeah, he's like, the physique is there. He's just awful.
He's a body.
He's terrible.
He doesn't have hands. It's sad.
Do we think
6'7", no hands is nuts.
the Bucs have 3 potential
But you
players
can work
in the
on hands.
franchise? They have
do.
Baker, they have Mike, they have Antoine Winfield. We already know Mike's not getting tagged. That's already been reported.
Winfield's probably getting tagged.
And Baker's
Baker's
tag
getting a
number for
contract.
1 year would be
Bigger than
$36 million for 1
I
year.
think that's bigger than the contract he would actually get.
For sure. That's why I think Baker gets extended. I saw a report, I think, that said like 2-3 years, around 70, 75 million.
Contract.
Yeah, something similar to that. So yeah, Winfield looks like the one player that if they were going to tag anybody to be him, the safety number this year is $17.2 million. When you look at the Buccaneers cap space, they have $29 million in effective cap space. So they have the money to do it. And Winfield's been a great player for them, so I think that's probably the most likely scenario.
Damn, Mike gone.
Levante David's also an option to tag.
Yeah, I do think that Baker gets extended. I think Mike,
I don't think Levante's getting that.
he should get extended, but it doesn't seem like that's going to be the case. It'd be interesting to see Mike Evans hit the open market after having the year that he just had.
Jordan Schultz went on BR the other day. He listed the 5 teams. It was the Jets, the Chiefs, the Panthers. Let me look at the standings. It was those 3.
I don't know if
I think Mike Evans is going to the Jets. I have a feeling.
The Patriots was the other one.
Oh, we're good off that too.
I have
Jayden
a feeling
Daniels gets
that
drafted there. I'm cool with that.
The Buccaneers are going to implode this offseason. They have to sign Antoine Winfield, Levante David, Mike Evans, Baker, like Dehls mentioned.
The Lions was the 5th one.
If Mike Evans doesn't come back, I don't see why Baker would come back. Mm-hmm. Like I think losing Dave Canales is a big reason why Baker might not want to come back.
That's why the Panthers connection, because Canales is
Got it.
Yeah. So I think Baker Mayfield could go
Carolina
to
would
another
give them
team
the
that's
bag.
quarterback needy.
Mm-hmm.
And I threw up this question on Twitter. The question was, if you're the Minnesota Vikings, are you paying Kirk Cousins or are you paying Baker Mayfield on the open market?
I'm assuming because Baker's cheaper. And you
Baker's
can sign
cheaper.
Daniel Hunter.
Kirk's going to want fully guaranteed whatever he signs.
Kirk wants to be guaranteed money up until 2026.
I would
So
give them
3 seasons of guarantees.
and this isn't a slight on Baker.
If I
He
can
showed
keep
that he
Hunter,
be
I'd
good
give
enough.
it to Baker.
I think Kirk Cousins is just a better quarterback.
I agree, but I think if you find a way to get not Kirk, but you can get a little bit lower than that based
What's
on how
the
you play.
difference in contract? How many millions of dollars are we talking about?
Baker
10 plus?
gets 25 a year. Kirk 35, 40.
You think Kirk is 35, 36?
I think Kirk
Dak's
is 40
reported to
plus
get
mil.
60.
What the fuck?
Dak was walling.
Dak is
If
reported to
If
get
Daniel
60.
Jones got 40 mil, because that's what the standard of contract
That's
is,
a fact. It starts
I think
at 40
Kirk
mil.
can get
So like
40 or
43?
50 million on the open market.
That's 20. That's damn near almost 20
It's a
mil
big
less
difference.
than Baker.
But Kirk is so Minnesota. His whole family, they
is.
all have embraced it. It would have and I don't know, maybe coming off the Achilles, he's like, maybe I'll take a little bit less money. I've got guaranteed bread for the
he wants
last
that
6,
bread
7
before
years.
you get out of here. I get it.
I get it too, but
I'm trying to think. Baker, $25 million.
maybe
What
they
did
could get
Geno
30.
get? Didn't
He
Geno
got 25.
Was it
Got
25?
25, yeah.
But I feel like Baker, for a majority, to start his career, significantly better than Geno. They thought that was a flash in a pan, and obviously this season, I think he showed that he wasn't as good as the year before, but he was still a passable quarterback, more than. Baker was damn good this season, top 10 in both passing touchdowns and passing yards. Was able to win a playoff
Minnesota
game.
got weapons too.
Minnesota does have weapons. Obviously, we know Addison. We know Jet, who's the best in the game, arguably 1 and 2
TJ.
between him and Tyreek. TJ Hawkinson, most definitely.
Ty Chandler, damn.
Bro,
They got some dogs out there.
they do have a good ass
Chandler's
team,
nuts.
but understanding that Kirk Cousins is just it's a gap. And it's not a huge gap, you could say, but it's a good enough gap where
Let me
I
ask
would
you,
still pay Kirk
Is
the
the
money.
gap big enough? Because I'm assuming if you get Baker, he asked that because if you get Baker, you keep Hunter. Is the gap big enough to where you can lose Hunter?
You also got to pay Jettis a record-breaking deal.
He'll get that. Don't worry. We'll worry about that when we get there.
Well, Jettis also said he wants to know what goes on
Daniel
with Daniel Hunter.
Got it.
Daniel Hunter.
Jettis has also said he wants to know what happens with Kirk before he signs his extension.
Oof.
And also, is
That kinda puts
it
a
worth
damper on
messing up
everything.
the chemistry that's already in the building with Kirk Cousins, with a new quarterback, having to learn a system?
It might be, but I think Baker Mayfield is one of those guys that can mesh in quickly with his surrounding parts, and I think that happened with
Kevin
the
O'Connell.
Buccaneers.
With Kevin O'Connell, I would have faith.
And that's it right there, because
Your ceiling's higher with Kirk. That's why.
it is, but how much higher? He has one playoff win in 6 years.
The ceiling isn't that.
Baker Mayfield
But
just won 2 playoff
you
games.
could say he has one
one playoff
playoff win in 6 years, but at the same
This
time,
year they could have made a run.
The year versus
They could've.
the year versus the Giants, he was near perfect.
Yeah.
They lost because of the defense. This past year, it looks to shape up to be the best Minnesota team that we had seen, and that's talking about a 13-win team.
Yeah.
The year
could've beat
before
Detroit.
that.
But the 13, we got to stop. You got to stop messing that
credibility is
13
off.
win team, because we understand that the 13 win Vikings were not that good.
No,
Okay,
that was my whole point, though.
Yeah.
I said that this Minnesota team was shaping up to be better than the 13-win Vikings team.
Yes.
But also, what I only said about the Vikings that year was Kirk Cousins in the playoffs, because that's what this conversation's about, was perfect.
Ultimately, when it comes down to Kirk Cousins in this conversation, is if he was healthy, this isn't a conversation.
Mm-hmm.
But the fact that he tore his Achilles, he's on the older side, and he wants 3 years of guaranteed money, Minnesota is not willing to give him that, because there's a lot of players coming up that they have to pay, like Justin Jefferson, who's going to reset the wide receiver market.
Good luck getting the
Daniel
ball.
Hunter is a free agent right now, and they got to sign him back, and he might be walking. I think the Vikings are in a terrible position this offseason, because they could lose Kirk Cousins, they can lose Daniel Hunter. They could probably replace Daniel in the draft with the first-round pick because it's edge rusher heavy. But when I look at Kirk Cousins' injury with the Achilles and Baker Mayfield coming off a great season with the Buccaneers, and when Baker Mayfield has been healthy, he has played well. His rookie season, his third season in the NFL where he led the Browns to the playoffs, got a playoff win, and then this season were the 3 years that he was actually healthy. He's been really productive, and I think under Kevin O'Connell's offense with Jettas and Jordan Addison and TJ Hawkinson, if they can pay him a cheaper deal and surround him with more talent, then I think the Vikings are in a better position, because if you're giving a lot of money to Kirk Cousins, that means the money is getting removed from another position. And if you don't have a dominant edge rusher like Daniel Hunter, it makes your defense so much worse.
I just don't think Baker gets 25. Like, if you think the gap between Kirk and Baker is 25 million, I think you're mistaken. Again, like you mentioned, good rookie year, good third year, good fifth year. So 3 of the 5 years of his career, he's been a solid quarterback in the National Football League.
Made the playoffs
Again,
twice.
I say that with the idea that Geno had six years, if I'm not mistaken, of not being a good quarterback to finally showing, I'm actually really good at football. That's why he got 25 million, because it was a little bit of a gamble on Seattle's part. In Tampa Bay's spot, they won a playoff game. And again, Baker has been good majority of his career, I would say. He's going to get somewhere up of 35, 40 million. I do firmly believe that, especially after being top 10 in touchdowns and yards. I think to think the gap is 25 million is far-fetched. Baker is a lot better than getting 25 a year.
So to transition to the next topic, predicting where these top quarterbacks are going to land, we have a bunch. Justin Fields, Russell Wilson, Baker Mayfield, Kirk Cousins, Drake May, Caleb, Jayden Daniels, or touching on the draft now.
I added those.
Yeah, I know you did.
Okay.
I like it. Even though 2 of the 3 are very obvious, in my opinion, they are.
I'll tell you what, it's not going to go 4 for 4 for one of those draft picks.
I don't know.
Okay, so let's.
You subbing me?
No, I'm subbing him.
Oh, okay.
Okay, so
can happen.
if you guys want to, we can start with the rookie quarterbacks coming in.
All
So
right, beautiful.
where do you think that the top 3 rookie quarterbacks in this upcoming draft class will land?
Okay, so
Caleb's going to Chicago.
Yes,
we
he
could
is.
agree on that.
100%. They're done with Fields. We can
No
all
disrespect
admit
to
that.
Fields. He's going to move on somewhere. He's going to be great, but Caleb.
He is. We'll get to that later.
Caleb Williams will be the number 1 pick in the
Yes.
draft.
Absolutely.
So where's Drake May going?
You guys tell me.
Is it a consensus Commanders here?
I think unless Denver sends them the fucking Hall.
That's why you're my motherfucking man.
I said if they send them a say Hall, then I would say yeah. But I think Washington takes
3 firsts. Drake May.
No, that's
Denver
we need
Bronco.
more.
No, we don't need more
Yes,
than
you do.
that.
You're not
It's
getting
3 firsts.
Yeah, you're not getting them.
Why?
That's basically the Trey Lance trade.
I know.
I think. Listen,
Was Drake not way better than Trey
And do you
Lance
want to
coming
know
out?
why it
Yes.
might?
Yes,
You know
yes.
what? You know what Denver could to flirt the idea
Hold
to
on.
them.
Quick question.
Okay.
Bryce Young or Drake May coming out?
Drake May.
Drake May? What did Bryce get? A wide
2
receiver
and DJ Moore.
Yeah, bro, you need more than 3.
No.
You do.
I say 3 with the idea that 3 and probably a second. But at the same time,
Second?
a second is valuable.
I think a 3 first. Yeah.
What'd they get for
the thing
Bryce?
is if the pick is up for sale, if number 2 is up for sale, that means it's not just gonna be Denver interested. There's gonna be a bunch of
What did Bryce
teams.
go for?
2 firsts, a second round
Moore.
pick, and DJ Moore.
That's way more than 3 and a second.
Well, they swapped. If I'm not mistaken, they swapped.
Yes.
And then they got their first this year.
What's your
and
pick
DJ
now?
Moore.
12, right?
We have 12.
I think you would take Washington out of QB. I think Jayden goes before 12.
Most definitely.
So you would take him out of. They would have no
I
quarterback.
think Washington takes Drake May.
Let's be
I
realistic.
just
I
think
think the
Drake
Drake
May
May
goes to
wins.
Washington.
Let's be realistic.
They got a new regime, new GM, new
Listen,
coach. They want a quarterback.
Washington has been
Sam is
known
done.
to be surprising. He's most likely done.
It's
I
just
agree.
Washington has a need at quarterback
Desperate
desperately.
need. Desperate
They
need.
need it.
Who's the option if they don't take
Sam
Drake May?
Howell,
You
you
can't
run it
you
back.
cannot
There
run
are-
Sam Howell back.
Or Jacoby Brissett.
or Justin Fields.
Yeah, you'd
They're
have
not
to be a
doing
bit
that.
of a madman to do that.
It's possible.
Commanders, they're not doing that.
Would you rather, if you're the Commanders,
Well, me, you
get
can't
3
actually.
first-round picks from the Denver Broncos? Which, hey, if you're the Broncos, you could sell to them. We may not be that good. We're bringing in a rookie quarterback. We may not be that good. Our picks are going to be valuable to you guys. A second-round pick, probably, I'm assuming either this year or next, and Justin Fields.
I would take Drake May.
I'll take the quarterback that can be a top 10 quarterback in the
So
league.
the 3 first-round picks and a
I don't
second.
think, to me personally,
You're giving me a box of chocolate. Could be it could be anything.
yeah, me personally, I just watched Bryce Young go for DJ Moore, who just had his career year, 2 firsts and a second, and you're telling me Drake is better than Bryce coming out? Yeah, I need more.
Okay, I mean, how much more can?
I mean,
it's the
Dehls-
best offer available.
I need more. I think you can get better.
No,
I think so.
Honestly, what's better, which would hurt, but I'd be willing to do. Sadly, if
Yep,
if
keep
they
talking.
ask 2 firsts and Pat Surtain.
But I don't think you guys are going to give up that much draft
I don't think
capital.
so either.
After the Russ thing botched, you're
need
not
it.
giving
You
up
need
It's
more draft
completely
capital.
different, though.
No, it's not.
I say it's
To give up
completely
2
different.
firsts
Where
and Pat, like
do you want to
got-
know why it's different?
You guys have holes, man.
It's
This
different
seems like a
because
quarterback
immediate.
away.
Immediate. Well, again,
It's a
we do
rebuild.
have holes, but at the same time, you get the first piece.
There's a
which is
reason
the
why
rookie
Sean
quarterback.
Payton signed a 10-year
Can I
deal.
finish with the reason why it's not the same? There is a reason,
We all
and
think
already in
Commanders
year
are
one
right.
we were better than last year. But again, if we want to talk about why it's different, is because we traded for that quarterback, we gave away our picks, but we also gave this quarterback $245 million. We'd be getting a quarterback on a rookie contract. Huge difference where we can now go and fill pieces of which we need. That's the truth.
It doesn't matter if you get a
I'll take,
quarterback on a
but
rookie
Denver gets
contract.
JJ McCarthy.
What do you mean it doesn't matter?
It doesn't matter because you
That's
already
Sean's guy.
you have a historically high dead cap hit with Russell Wilson.
Correct.
So you still can't build correctly around a rookie quarterback because you're not going to have much money.
It'll be what 2 years of that dead cap if I'm not mistaken.
That's a lot. That's half of the quarterback's
That's
rookie deal.
That's 2 of the 3. That's 2 of the 5 years. 2 of the 5 years with a rookie quarterback. So you're still saying we have a 3-year window to figure it out.
And you have massive holes on your roster that you need
Still
to
don't have
address.
You
Massive-
have one receiver. You have one receiver.
You need a tight end.
It depends. Tight end, I
You
agree.
need an edge
Don't you
rusher.
have to pay
'Cause-
Judy soon?
You need a second
Judy's,
quarterback.
I think he's a free agent.
You need a linebacker. There's a lot of things that Broncos need.
Cortland Sutton's a free agent too.
Pay him.
We won't pay him.
Oh, so you have nothing.
Jerry Judy.
Exactly.
We
Isn't
have
Judy a free agent?
God willing, Tim. Is he a free agent?
him as a number one is
No, I
nuts
don't think.
anyways.
I don't think he is. I don't think
Not
he is.
good.
Tim Patrick, God willing, he stays healthy. All pro Marvin Mims.
You could, buddy.
No. Our wide receiver situation is definitely not the best. But again,
Washington.
you start to fill those pieces as they come.
I don't think Denver's in a situation to give up their entire future for Drake May.
I think we would though.
I don't know.
Jerry Judy signed for one more year, so next year he's a free agent.
It's not really.
I think Commanders.
I'm taking
Jayden
Commanders.
Daniels is the wild card.
I'll take Commanders.
Yes.
Here.
Jayden Daniels at 2.
No, not two. I'm talking about he's the wild card of where he's going to go.
Oh, I understand.
I have a selection for Jayden Daniels.
Where?
I have him going to the New York Giants.
Pick number 5.
6, I think.
6. Pick number
They
6.
go back
It
into
makes
that
sense.
number 6 overall. They took Daniel Jones last time, Jayden Daniels this time. 2 reasons. Number 1, Daniel Jones isn't the guy. I think it's pretty obvious. they could get out of his contract next
Or a
season.
playoff game.
And if you're Brian Dable and Joe Shane, you could say, we have a rookie quarterback. Let us stay here and develop them. I don't think they're on the hot seat or anything like that, but there's been rumblings around New York. You know, Brian Dable has had some issues with the coaching staff and with some players. So I think if you get Jayden Daniels, and I do think Brian Dable is a good coach, at least schematically, he'll be able to unlock him with this offense. He's one of the best dual threat quarterbacks we've seen in a long time coming out of the draft. So I think that's a pretty good landing spot. He could spend a year under Daniel Jones, doesn't have to play right away. And I think Brian Dable and him, they could do some special things.
I think it makes a lot of sense with the idea that you came in with the notion that this was a 2-year, $80 million contract with Daniel Jones. If he were to have played good, they would obviously accept the 2 years, and it would be the 4-year, 160. But I understand your logic where you don't think Daniel's that guy. You move off of him this offseason, and it's a clean transition. But you get the one last year from Daniel Jones, and then the year after, you start to integrate your new process with the new rookie quarterback, or second year, of course, now at that point in time. I don't mind that spot. It'll be hard for me to see Jayden go number 3 with Marvin, understanding how desperate.
Six.
No, I understand. I'm saying in
for
terms
New
of
England.
what majority of people think it'll be 1, 2, 3 quarterback.
Arizona would love that.
The Cardinals are sitting pretty. They're getting an elite wide receiver regardless. It sucks you're going from Marvin to the next guy, but the next guy is still pretty damn great in his own right. Malik Neighbors, he's going to be a fine draft pick for Arizona, where I feel like with the floor for Marvin is pick 4, but the ceiling is pick 3. It'll be hard for me to see the Patriots pass on Marvin, given how desperately they do need a wide receiver, especially with Bill Belichick out of there, and maybe now they're looking to add just the best available player at that draft pick. But again, quarterback is so valuable that I can understand if they do decide to move off Mac and go and take Jayden Daniels at number 3. But honestly, it makes sense. Jayden Daniels at 6 does make a lot of sense, understanding that the contract with Daniel Jones is a tough one to accept. Unless Daniel Jones comes back and he plays well this season, which, hey, it's not out of the realm of possibility, but understanding he is on a hefty contract for a player that is not, at this point in time, worth the $40 million a year. So I'd understand that draft selection, and honestly, that'd be a decent pick.
Sorry.
Jayden Daniels, I think, goes to the Falcons or the Raiders. I think it's one of the two. I have a feeling it can be the Raiders. I don't know if you want to say the Falcons.
I think the Falcons make a move in
that
free
makes
agency,
sense.
though.
I was feeling the Falcons move. Instead of just going to trade for Fields, just pick Jayden Daniels. Start this shit over, man.
My thing with the Giants is that I feel like they're a team that just has too many holes to just try to address the quarterback position, because if Saquon walks, you don't have a running back. You don't have receivers. You don't have an offensive line outside of Andrew Thomas. And I think this is a draft where you can draft a offensive lineman high.
It's just you get a pretty good quarterback prospect at 6. He could sit and wait a year because next year's quarterback.
Joe Alt at 6 would be
Wan'Dale Robinson's open rate was pretty high.
It was high.
Wan'Dale Robinson's actually good.
Yeah, he's a solid receiver.
And Jalen Hyatt, second half of the year, had some nice games too.
They're here.
Brock Bowers at 6.
Yeah,
I think Wan'Dale really impressed this past season. I want to say this about the Patriots. If the Patriots end up drafting a quarterback at number 3, it would be one of the more irresponsible decisions that I've seen them make. Number 1, Jayden Daniels is not a top 3 quarterback prospect. That's number 1 where you go wrong, especially if you're going to take him to pass up on somebody like Marvin Harrison Jr. It's irresponsible. This is what they have to work with. Devontae Parker, Juju Smith-Schuster, Kendrick Bourne, Tyquan Thornton, Jalen Reagor, Demario Douglas. Demario Douglas is the best of this group. This past season, Juju and Juju and Devontae Parker, according to ESPN, were bottom 10 in getting open amongst all receivers.
No one's surprised,
including tight end, receiver and tight end. So including both.
Not surprised.
Ramondre Stevenson is solid, but he doesn't have an offensive line in front of him. Their offensive line is not good. This is not a situation where you can just plop in a quarterback and your issues get solved. The Patriots rebuild, to me, is a multi-year rebuild and trying to make and create an offensive infrastructure that is great for a rookie quarterback. If they draft Jayden Daniels here, I think it would be irresponsible, and they would set him up for failure.
I think Marvin's the easy home run pick. You don't think twice about it. You get the best available player at number 3. It's a home run selection, but again, understanding that quarterback is definitely a necessity. If you're the Patriots and you think, hey, Jayden's our guy, Jayden's our guy at number 3, then hey, I can't be too upset at it. But at the same time, take the safe player. Take the safe player at a position.
Especially with that upside, with that, yeah.
Understand
that floor too, honestly.
I think the last prospect that was valued this highly was a Jamar Chase, but even still, I feel like Marvin has just a little bit more to him coming into this draft, which is saying something.
Jamar didn't play his final season at LSU. That was the COVID year.
Still was the 5th pick in the draft, too.
Yeah. Yes, which makes absolute sense. Jamar Chase was a freak of nature coming out.
He didn't play his last year?
He didn't.
Wow.
Which is why he was lit.
He's a freak. Yeah, still fucking tough.
Yeah, he's tough. Yeah, I was thinking of 2 teams. I was thinking about Atlanta for sure because, why give up a pick when you could just pick Jayden Daniels, start the rebirth. You got 4 years of a rookie quarterback. And you got some guys.
I'm fine with it.
They're rebirthing the franchise, kind of.
I'm fine
without
with
Belichick, low key.
Now, rebirth is fine.
Rebuild.
If it was any other franchise.
I went to say rebuild, but I'm high.
Rebirth is fine. It's like you're dead, but you're back again.
We're here, though.
I'm cool with it.
We're back to it.
Yeah, I'm cool.
The rebuild of the franchise.
Nah, bro, leave a rebirth.
Retool. Rebuild.
I'm a little
Rebirth's cool.
For sure. You got Bijan.
Your cash.
You got Drake London. But I was thinking, what if Minnesota trades up? What if Minnesota trades up, and starts with a rookie at quarterback to reset? Kirk is asking for a lot of money coming off injury, and I think Kirk is a really great quarterback. And I think with the way the division is going, you got Green Bay with the young route. You got Chicago's probably going the young route. Detroit, Jared Goff's not old, but he's also still relatively in his prime of his career, 27, 28, 29 years old, and they got a young-ass team. So why not, as a Minnesota team, start with a different quarterback, move up in the draft? You wanted to do it with AR. You couldn't do it, unfortunately. Why not try again with Jayden? So I thought, Minnesota can make a move to where they can move up in the draft, pick Jayden. Not too high. I don't think they need to move up too insane. I feel like if New York doesn't take him and if Atlanta doesn't take him, you have a shot at really just waiting because I don't think the Jets would take him. I don't think Chicago's going to take him either. So you can even sit and wait and pray. But I think Minnesota and Atlanta, those are the 2 for me.
The way the draft is falling, I don't know if there's going to be more than 3 quarterbacks selected in the first round. There is hype around J.J. McCarthy.
Michigan legend.
That's a risky pick to make given the volume he had in Michigan.
It's kind of athletic as hell.
You can move.
Michael Penix.
That's a 4.4. I'm not mistaken. Like around that 4.40.
Michael Penix, 2nd round pick, I think, because of his medicals. I don't think he goes in the first round. And then Bo Nix, who I think could be a 2nd round quarterback.
Both older prospects, too.
Yeah, that's why I don't know if a team should reach in the first round if they want to have a project at quarterback. I think, one of Penix or Bo Nix will be there if they want to go that route. So that's why I would be opposed to the Broncos trading the house for Drake May. I think you need more good players right now.
I think it's more realistic for the Broncos or Minnesota to trade up for Daniels.
Would you like
and Drake
Bo
May
Nix?
for sure?
Bo Nix in the 2nd round?
No.
They're getting J.J. McCarthy.
No, we're not.
Penix?
And you're going to like
Lefty?
it.
I wouldn't be opposed.
I know.
I like Penix. I actually think
like
he's
your
good.
Michigan
I don't
brother,
think you have a
JJ?
I like JJ, but I don't want him at 12.
I thought you traded your 2nd this year because for Sean Payton.
You're right. I do believe the Saints have it.
Hate that for you.
I'm not upset. I will most definitely, happily, with a smile on my face, trade all 3 of those first-round picks to get number 2.
But yeah, Minnesota or Denver trading up for Jayden Daniels as a 3rd quarterback. That feels more realistic if it were to happen. I think Minnesota is still pretty. I would lean them over Denver. I don't think Denver's in the world
If
where
they don't
they're
want
going
to
to
pay
trade up
Kirk
for a
over 40 mil, I get it.
Yeah.
I get it. That's a shit ton of
Do
money.
you get it?
I do get it.
Or even
pretty
still,
great.
if you want to pay Kirk 2 years, fully guaranteed, and still draft Jayden, I don't hate that.
Kirk was on pace for the best year of his career.
Yeah. It's just age. He's coming off an injury.
Achilles, too.
Yeah. The division is really tough.
It is tough.
That's
just
a
getting
big
better.
injury.
It is.
The Achilles. That's what would scare me from giving him 3 years of guaranteed money.
If he was a mobile quarterback, it would scare me, like really scare me. But understanding that that's not really his game, hasn't been his game for some time, I would feel a little bit more comfortable with that. I mean, if you're a Jets fan, you're kind of doing the same thing.
But you hinder your team when you give a quarterback that much money.
Yeah, but he was already getting a good amount of money.
More quarterbacks get hurt in the pocket, though.
Okay, I get it, but he tore his Achilles. It wasn't like he got
against
hit.
The Packers.
And, yeah.
I understand, but he'd be taking shots too. He'd be taking a lot of shots.
He stands in the pocket for sure.
And that's why I think if he was mobile, it would have actually helped me a little bit more. If he can move too.
You know?
I'll be honest. If I'm Minnesota, I don't think twice about it. You give him $45 million a year for 3 years.
Not my money.
That's okay. He's great.
They still might draft Jayden, even if they pay him.
I think that's the ideal situation for Jayden.
That means
where
they're
he
giving
could
him a
go
short
and
deal.
sit for a year and learn, especially offensive mind head coach behind a guy like Kirk. That would be the perfect landing spot for him.
It all depends on what the market is for Kirk Cousins. If the market isn't out there for him because teams are scared off of the same thing the Vikings are scared off of, I think I think Kirk Cousins stays in Minnesota because I think he will be loyal to Minnesota if it's the best opportunity for him.
I also have Kirk staying in Minnesota on mine. I don't think he's leaving.
So we can move on to predicting the quarterback landing spots for these veteran quarterbacks. There are 4 quarterbacks that can actually move the needle somewhat when it comes to offseason moves. It's Kirk Cousins, Baker Mayfield, Justin Fields, and I put Russell Wilson last in there.
You put him in there?
I did put him in there. Respect the Hall of Famer. So where do you think these quarterbacks
We
go?
respect Seattle. Russ.
Yeah, Russ had a better year than Aaron Rodgers this year.
Has nothing to do with me. Talk to him.
I have 2 guys changing teams and 2 guys staying on their teams. I don't know. Yeah, of course, Fields is going to be changing teams. Yes.
What'd you expect?
I have Baker staying in Tampa Bay. I think he's, as Riv would say, rebirthed his career in Tampa Bay.
He did.
And he's gonna get his payday. He's gonna get 70, 80. Maybe he's got a great agent. He get 90 million. And then Kirk Cousins just feels too Minnesota to me. He feels too ingrained into that city and that franchise, his family, the fans. I have a hard time thinking he's gonna go somewhere at this point in his career.
1 to 10, 10 being most likely. Baker to Atlanta.
10 being most likely. I
I
have
think
a
it's
different.
6.
6?
That's
How would you feel
the
about
first number that came to my head.
6? Like it could.
It's a
You could see
50-50
it.
chance.
I had more 4 because I'm pretty confident Baker would stay with Tampa Bay.
Okay. I don't hate that.
I think he does stay too.
I do think Baker Mayfield stays. I think, a team that he just went on, they gave him the keys. He did his thing, made the playoffs. The city rallied behind him. The coach did, the players did for sure. It's going to look a little funny when Mike Evans doesn't come back, and Chris Godwin as number 1 at this point. I think it's cool, but it's not the biggest thing in the world, But
Chris Godwin's still great.
Receiver.
he's still good.
Solid.
The division is weak, so that always helps you out.
He's a wide receiver 2 at best. And
At
I don't
this
even know
point,
if he's
yes.
a high-end wide receiver 2 at this point.
Might be low. But
Trey
I
Palmer
don't know.
had
There
some
was a time where
flashes,
where
a minute
Chris
ago.
Godwin his girlfriend came out and was like, "Yo, get on the rock," and after that, he started to
that might
eat.
have been like 2-3 years ago.
No, that was this year.
Think so?
It was this year, but it was ridiculous because he was getting the
He
ball.
was getting the ball, but no, there was like a span of games where he was not. I know that for a fact because we were talking about it on the fantasy reaction.
Like I said, luckily the division's weak as hell, so you will always have a chance to win it. I think Fields ends up in Pittsburgh, man.
Okay. What do you have?
He's had 1,000 3 years in a row.
What's the 1,000?
2008.
1103,
That's cool.
1023, and 1024.
I'm not moved by those.
Yeah.
He also had a
I have to keep-
1333.
I have to keep the same energy. I
Yeah,
did
that
with,
was with Brady.
Terry.
That was in 2019.
Yeah.
It's a shame you're a box score watcher
Or
when it
Jameis,
comes to
sorry.
this.
No, it's Brady.
Some
James.
receivers, yes, I am a box score watcher.
Say that one more time.
Brady.
I'm
James,
not even going to count
2019, I believe, was Jameis.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, just 1028 doesn't move me. Just
Chris Godwin is a great number 2, though.
It's one of
He's
the-
I don't
one
think
who
he's
said
low
low
end
end.
number 2.
No.
I don't think he's a high-end number 2, I'll be honest.
What are we doing?
I think he's, I think he's like a
who's a
middle
great end?
What do you
number
want
2?
him to do?
like T. I think
T.
he's a
Higgins?
better receiver than him. Yeah.
But I think T. Higgins can be a number 1.
I guess
He's
so.
a low. T. Higgins is more of a low end 1 that is in the role of a number 2.
Maybe. I don't know. I don't know
He's
if
not
T. I don't know
feeling
if
that
T.
at
Higgins
all.
is like a bona fide
Here we
number
go,
1
Chris
receiver.
Godwin.
He was
Talks,
on
baby.
pace for 1,500 yards when Jamar Chase was out for 4 games in 2022.
Yeah.
T. Higgins had 28 receptions, 356 yards, and 2 touchdowns.
It's just,
Is he
it's
cooking
just
you, Dehls?
no. It's 4-game sample size. It sounds great. 4-game sample size
Sounds
doesn't
incredible.
move it. I mean, look at Calvin Ridley's numbers with those with and without
Wasn't
Julio.
Higgins
He was
Brown
putting
on
up
a
crazy
similar
numbers.
trajectory? Like,
He was before
put-
Kyler got hurt.
T. Higgins as a rookie was close to the 1,000-yard mark.
Yeah, no,
with
he's
Joe
a really good
Burrow
receiver.
Out.
I just don't know if he'll ever be like
He's
if he'd be like
underselling
a
it.
number 1, a true number 1. I think he's like he could be the best number 2 in the league.
Well, he's disrespecting
Bro,
T.
Joe Burrow tore his ACL his rookie year, and T. Higgins still almost reached 1,000 yards receiving.
I don't think T. Higgins is bad, but like 1,000
He's just not
yards is
feeling you.
just
No, I'm just saying he's
that
a
bar.
low
That
end number
bar is
1.
like the bar sounds great, but it's really like 55.
So you're
yards
telling
deep.
me if T. Higgins is your best receiver, you're not comfortable with that? I would be comfortable
No,
with
I
him being
think
my
I
best
think
receiver.
I'm okay with it. It's not like a pressing need by any means, but I think you just agreed he's a low end 1. I say high end 2. We're you know what I mean like
All right,
tomato,
listen,
tomato.
listen, I know who Chris Godwin is, but at the same time, in the last 3 years, he did play a full season this year, missed 2 games in 2022, and in 2021, missed 3 games. And in those missed 3 games, had 1,100 yards, missed 2 games, had 1023, and in this season, playing a full season.
So he could have had about
had
12.
21 less receptions and had 1 more yard this year than the year before.
Okay.
Also, we have
You
to
didn't mention the games missed.
Also, we have to
That's why I
acknowledge.
wanted to make sure I said something.
We have to acknowledge what Chris Godwin is in his role. He's a slot receiver. He's one of the best ones in the league. You can't name me five slots that are better than him.
That's tough though, because a lot of the best, there's a lot of elite receivers that throw themselves in the slot too.
Just exclusively. in the slot.
Amon-Ra would be number one to me. I think he's the best slot in the league.
All right, I'm fine with that. Cooper Kupp also comes to mind.
Yeah. He comes to mind too.
We're talking about guys who are slots, or they play in the slot also.
I think he's
they're slot receivers. Like a majority of their snaps come from the slot. Because CD Lamb is
Christian Kirk is a slot receiver, but I would
CD,
definitely say Chris Godwin is better than Christian Kirk.
I think it's close.
It's not a huge gap.
You're right.
Correct.
Because I was going to mention Jettas, but you said primarily in the slot. Okay.
I was going to say you're right, because Jettas will go in the slot. CD will go in the slot. It's food anytime they go in there.
Tay would go in the slot.
Tay, absolutely.
Yeah. I mean, most receivers at some point, not a lot, just play exclusively on the outside.
So those T. Higgins stats in the 4 games without Chase, I was going off the dome. I was close. I don't know if I said 28 or 26 catches, but it is 26 catches. I said 358 yards. He had 371, and it was 2 touchdowns. It was against Cleveland, Carolina, Pittsburgh, and Tennessee. Those were the 4 games in 2022.
Cleveland, Carolina, Pittsburgh.
Higgins is great.
No, Cleveland is respectable.
No, some good ones there.
Tennessee,
Tennessee was the last one. I was just thinking.
Cleveland, I didn't like it.
His best 2 games were against Pittsburgh, 148, and Tennessee, 114.
Which makes sense.
Yes. And then against Cleveland, 49, and then against Carolina, 60 yards.
So where would you rank Chris Godwin? Are we going
to... Terry McLaurin's better, I think.
He is better.
Okay.
I would rank Chris Godwin.
That's what I'm saying.
I see where the energy is.
I would have ranked Chris Godwin like a top 30, 35 receiver in the league.
I'm cool with that, for sure.
Yeah, he's
you
around
think
there.
there's 30 number ones?
No, I didn't say Chris Godwin was the number 1.
So he's a low end.
No, I said he's a high number 2.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I was thinking of T. Higgins.
He's never had a season.
You said T. Higgins was
yeah. Dehls just said that he's a low end number 2.
His best year of his career was Jameis.
Pardon me.
Or even Jameis, the amount they throw the ball.
They threw the ball like 50 times a game.
To be fair, Sam Howell also threw the ball like 1,000 times.
But also with Brady, Chris Godwin had more receptions. The year that he had his career high in receiving yards, he had 80-something catches, 86 catches.
No, he's a great player. Dehls disrespected him just now.
No, I mean, we just agreed that he's like around the 30th best receiver. I think I ranked him pretty fairly. It's like he's like a solid number 2.
Good Godwin? Cool.
Let's see.
Like if Terry's like barely 20, I think that's fine. Like,
low
you know
end
what I mean?
number
Like,
2 is like I
didn't say low end. I didn't say low end.
I heard low end.
You did say low end.
No, you said high end. You said high end.
No, my apologies.
he said low end number 2.
No, my apologies. I want to be clear. I think he's like a perfectly middling wide receiver too. I don't think he's
middling.
He's a middling. He's not a low end wide receiver too, but I don't think he's a high end wide receiver too. I think he's like he's fine. Like as your number 2, like you said, you're not like that worried about it. But I need a real dude to be my number 1.
I think a low end wide receiver number 2 is we need to upgrade here.
Well, I don't think he's a low end.
So Darnell Mooney.
Let me just explain my thought process.
All right, he's a top 25 receiver.
A low end. Wait, what you saying?
I'm trolling.
He said Darnell Mooney might be better.
Darnell Mooney.
These are my definitions.
There was once a time where I was here for Darnell. I was here for Darnell.
Free him.
Never ever would I have
He's going to the Chiefs this year. He's putting
He
up
had
a
like a 15% drop rate.
My goodness, let's be real. So these are my definitions. Low end number 2, we're looking to upgrade and get a better second option at receiver. Middling pack number 2, I'm not looking to upgrade, but if it comes around, I will upgrade. High end number 2 is I'm fine with you being my second option as a receiver.
So Gabe
I think
Davis,
that's where Chris Godwin is.
Gabe Davis is 3.
Gabe Davis is a 3.
Low end.
Hate that for him. His drop's so low.
He's more so boomer bust 4.
What are you doing?
He's number 1 in all those numbers.
You want to know why I say he's not top 25? Honestly, he might not be top 39. I'm thinking
about Godwin?
Because the kids coming up, like Jordan Addison, Rasheed Rice,
Marvin Harris.
I think Drake London is one of the better wide receivers. Of course, yes, Marvin Harrison will come in and be better than him. Terry McLaurin's a conversation. I think it's a conversation.
That's what I'm saying. Ray was like, he's early top 30. Like,
oh my God.
It's a conversation.
For the Terry fans.
You think that?
And then Zay Flowers is another one.
So you think Rasheed Rice is better than Terry McLaurin?
I like Rasheed.
All right, that's a little nuts. We're going a little too far.
If Rip's saying it's nuts,
I'm not a god, but we're going.
Rasheed Rice does not drop the ball.
No, he's nice.
He doesn't.
Rasheed's nice.
Really good. He's really good.
I think by the end of next year we can talk.
I think his route tree obviously is not
a little pedestrian.
Of course, you look at Terry.
It's not Terry.
It's not.
Not even close. And Terry got better hands than Rasheed.
Rasheed
What
got
are we
some good hands
talking about?
though.
No, he does.
Rasheed's better.
I'm not trying to disrespect
Rasheed Rice had one of the best hands this season.
I think Terry's a tier above.
Has been that.
Yeah, agreed.
He's been that.
I think Terry's a tier above Rasheed, maybe 2. I think that's a little disrespectful.
Okay, I'm fine with that.
And I'm not even the biggest
when it's all
Terry
said
guy.
and done, and your quarterback's Patrick Mahomes, We'll see what happens.
But I think this is where we get wrong with when we rank wide receivers and we put a number on it. Because I think there's so much talent at the position today that just because you're not a top 30 receiver doesn't make you a low end number 2.
I agree.
Because there's a lot of talented receivers in the league.
Jameson Williams. We're here. Year 3.
We're here.
We are here.
Year 3 breakout?
I'm here with you.
We saw in the playoffs, man.
That was nuts. He's fast as shit.
It was special.
Oh
So let's jump back to the topic.
Here we go.
Predicting the quarterback landing spots. Kirk Cousins. I'm going to do a messy one and then like an actual politically correct one. So my messy one is Kirk Cousins to the Falcons.
Yes.
I think they find a quarterback option. It's a roster ready to compete now and win. I think it goes to Atlanta. I got Baker Mayfield taking Kirk's spot in Minnesota, signing with the Vikings, great offensive infrastructure. Russell Wilson, throw him to the Patriots. You know, who else really wants him?
Pittsburgh.
The Patriots, Pittsburgh, please. I got Justin Fields going there. I got Fields going to the Steelers, and, you know, I think they're more comfortable. They're more comfortable with Fields over Russell Wilson.
I think I got Russ going to Pittsburgh as well. I got Fields going to Atlanta. I think Mike Tomlin, he's had the kids, you know, Ben retired. He's had Kenny Pickett. He's tried this. He respects Russell Wilson. They're both future Hall of Famers. He's going to want a vet in there. And the talk around is going to be like they're going to revitalize Russ's career in Pittsburgh. And him and Tomlin are going to have this great relationship. And they'll probably go 9-8 again.
I'm going to go Kirk Cousins to Atlanta. I'm going to go Baker Mayfield, Tampa Bay. I'm going to go Justin Fields, Washington. And I'm going to go Russell Wilson.
Because Drake May goes to,
I'm going to go Russell Wilson to the Pittsburgh Steelers.
So I'll go Fields, Atlanta, Russ, Pitt, Baker, Tampa, and I'll go Kirk, Minnesota.
I got the same.
My politically correct one is Kirk staying with Minnesota.
Fuck the politics.
Justin Fields going to Atlanta.
Political podcast? What are we doing?
I think Fields goes to Atlanta. Hometown, that's where he's from. Raheem Morris, instead of drafting a quarterback, you get a young one. I think Fields makes sense. And Baker Mayfield, I can't put my finger on where I think he's going to go. Because I think the re-signing with the Bucs makes sense. But without Dave Canales, if Mike Evans leaves, why would he stay? I think the Raiders...
Dave Canales merchant?
Dave Canales is a great OC. He makes the game easier for
But you're going to call him a Dave Canales merchant?
No, he's not. But who's the OC there now? He's not Dave Canales. Dave Canales is the head coach now. It matters who your offensive coordinator is. Baker Mayfield... Raiders, maybe. I can see it. I think he would fit the personality a little bit. And I can see him going to the Steelers. I can see Baker going to the Steelers. And I think if they want a more mature quarterback, they go the Baker route instead of the Russ route.
Baker, I feel like he just needs a home, man.
It's
gotten to a point where he's moving around too much. And you need a situation where you can get comfortable, really learn an offense consistently year in, year out. There will be some minor adjustments. There will be some changes, but you know your group of guys that you go in with. I feel like that's why I lean Tampa. I understand where you guys are coming from, of course, because it will be a pretty different situation for Tampa Bay next year. But Pittsburgh, I do think that they need some maturity and older vet. I'm not saying that Baker Mayfield's not, because obviously he proved that in Tampa Bay.
They're just going over that instead of a young quarterback.
I think that more so, I see him staying in Tampa, and on top of it, if they were to choose from the rest of the selection, I see them leaning in the favor of a guy, a veteran like Russell Wilson.
So this week in the NBA/NFL prospects moment of the week, Dehls, I think you got a list that you want to share, a mock draft you have, a top 10.
I want to do the mock draft together.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Turn me up.
So we were just talking about all these rookie quarterbacks. So let's just do top 10 mock draft.
All right.
First pick, Chicago Bears, Caleb Williams.
Caleb Williams, lock that in.
Second pick, Commanders,
Traded
Drake
to
May.
the Denver Broncos. The Denver Broncos select Drake May. We're here for it?
Sure. Let's
Outvoted 3-1.
Are we outvoted? Am I outvoted, Riv?
Let's have fun.
Thank you.
Come on, Riff.
Y'all don't want to
Come on, Riv. Let's
Lock
have
in.
Andrew be a miserable fuck.
Okay, I'm with that. All right, so we'll go to regular.
Drake May is number 2 regardless, whatever team it is.
Okay, so sure. Have Denver trade up number 2 and take Drake May. New England Patriots. We're here.
I do believe the pick will be Marvin Harrison. I don't believe they take a quarterback here.
I'm also with Marvin Harrison.
I'm with Marvin Harrison Jr. too.
Mm-hmm.
Fourth pick, Cardinals. Marvin Harrison was sniped for them. Still have Malik Neighbors.
I was going to say, it's Malik Neighbors or Roma Dunze. They will take a wide receiver here. I do think that Malik Neighbors is a little bit higher on my board. Like majority, I'm assuming. I'm going to go Malik.
This is Malik Neighbors here.
I'm with Malik Neighbors. Number 5, you have the Chargers. Chargers have
Brock.
Bunch of needs. Brock Bowers.
This is where I want to spice things up. Brock Bowers, I think, is slipping because of positional value. But Herbert needs receivers.
He does.
Mike Williams might get cut. Keenan Allen's on the older side. Gerald Everett's a free agent. Austin Eckler might walk. I mean, who is Herbert throwing the ball to? You got to draft a guy, and I think Brock Bowers is perfect.
Okay, cool with that.
Brock Bowers, number 5. Number 6, the Giants. This is where I had Jayden Daniels going.
Joe Alt, getting him another offensive lineman.
Are they moving off of
Maybe you move
Evan
Neal
Neal, you move him to guard?
inside. Yep, move him
3 years in
inside.
a row taking
I'm
it back?
I'm
Oh,
Is
fine.
it crazy
3 out
to
of 4
take
years.
Rome here?
It wouldn't be crazy.
I don't think it's crazy.
I don't think it's crazy.
I
it's
like
crazy.
that pick actually a lot.
They need a wide receiver.
I think the Giants need offensive line and receiver more than a quarterback right now because they don't have much talent. Wan'Dale Robinson did come onto the scene, so got to give him credit there.
Jalen Hyatt, he's got it.
Jalen Hyatt he can take the top off the defense. Evan Neal has moved to guard now.
Good.
And I think he's been average at guard. You do need a need at tackle, but are you going to have another left tackle transition to right tackle? That's what they did with Evan Neal. I don't know. It's tricky. I'd probably go safe here and go receiver. I'd go Roma Dunze.
I like a Dunze here. So 7, this is where you have the Titans. I think they go tackle and take Joe.
So wait, at 6 we took who?
a Dunze.
Yes.
7, the Titans need tackle bad.
So Alt.
I think Alt goes here.
Yep, I'm fine with Alt.
I like Alt there too.
Number 8, the Falcons. This is where you had Daniels potentially going.
I think
We're
Jayden-
assuming, but I think majority of us assumed Fields is in Atlanta.
but let's pretend like he's not.
Okay.
All right, I think Jayden Daniels is a selection here.
This is where Daniels goes.
I think you take corner.
Corner.
Yes.
Who?
Well, I'm not too big on. I'm just telling you.
You just
I
think
wouldn't-
corner's in need for them?
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't know the guys.
So they got there's some good corners here.
Yeah.
If it's not quarterback, I think the Falcons go edge rusher, Dallas Turner, or Jared Verse.
I like that.
I would go Dallas Turner at edge, but you guys want to go Jayden Daniels. So if you want me to concede, I will. We could go Jayden at number 8. It's
Or does
really up
Raheem
to
Morris go in there once his edge rusher? I get
Well,
that.
I'm saying corner. You saying edge. So they both say quarterback.
I'd be cool with Dallas Turner at 8.
I'm cool with that too.
Okay, let's do it.
Number 9, Chicago Bears. So they already got Caleb Williams.
And
at
all the
1.
receivers are off the board, correct? We
Yes.
have
Odunze is off the board. Malik.
Oh,
Marvin
this is
Harrison,
easy.
of course.
opinion on taking an offensive lineman.
They could take Fashanu here or Fuaga.
Is Jackson Powers a reach?
Jackson Powers?
Yes.
Johnson.
Johnson.
The
Jackson Powers,
center, I mean?
Yes.
Probably not at 9.
Some people say he's a reach, but I think he's going to be. Well, he is the top center prospect in this class. I would have him going here, but with what you said, with Fashanu still on the board, Fuaga still on the
Any
board,
thought on Jared, another edge?
they could use another
They
edge
could.
too.
I think
Help out Sweat.
I like Fashanu
Their
here.
defense is trending in the right direction. I understand that logic. Of course, you want to make a strength an even more of a strength, but protect your first round pick, your number 1 overall pick in a Caleb Williams. I think you go and you beef up the offensive line. That makes some sense to me.
I would have Fashanu here too.
Yep.
I'm fine with that.
Okay. And then 10, New York Jets.
I think you go offensive lineman.
I think Fuaga. He's been mocked in basically every mock draft you'll see.
I think Fuaga goes here too.
Okay.
Okay.
I like
So
Fuaga too.
the top 10 be Caleb Williams at 1. The Denver Broncos trading up to number 2 overall and taking Drake May. Marvin
we
Harrison at
conceded to
3. Malik Neighbors at 4.
You'll concede to me.
Bowers at 5 to the Chargers. Odunze 6 to the Giants. 7, Alt to the Titans. 8, Dallas Turner to the Falcons. 9, Fashanu to the Bears. And Fuaga 10 to the Jets.
Daniel Jeremiah has Brock Bowers going to the Bengals.
Saw
At
18.
18.
That's why the range is crazy because I have seen Bowers go as early as we took him at 5.
So my prize picks moment of the week is I think the biggest drama happening right now between JJ Reddick and
Need the
Patrick
NBA
Beverly.
back, man.
I think Doc Rivers, oh my goodness. I feel like this guy's a walking PR nightmare with his comments since taking the job. JJ Reddick called out Doc Rivers because he basically said Doc Rivers is not taking accountability, and I can understand his frustration because
Pissed, guys. Sorry.
Doc Rivers, ever since he got the Bucs job, all he's been doing is complaining about how hard the job is and about how this is the toughest thing he's ever had to do.
Bro's like, yeah, I don't know why they called me.
Exactly. He just said that on the podcast, and I feel like this is the guy who's supposed to lead your team to a championship, who's supposed to coach Giannis and Dame, and all he's doing is talking about how hard it is to do so. It's like at some point you just got to do your job and figure it out. And JJ Reddick called him out. Patrick Beverly called out JJ Reddick, and Pat Bev said that Doc Rivers saved JJ's career. I don't think that's true. I think JJ was always going to be a very valuable role player across the league. And I just think it's important to highlight, and it's a big reason why I don't trust the Bucs this year, because the guy at the top, Doc Rivers, along with the holes on the roster, it just doesn't seem like it's going to go well.
It seems like he's just digging himself a deeper grave every day with the comments he makes. He had the comment after the Grizzlies game saying half the guys were here, half were in Cancun. You have these comments saying that it's harder than he was expected. It doesn't seem to be getting easier for the Bucs. Now, the defense has gotten better under Doc Rivers, but the offense has taken a slide. A big reason for that is Damian Lillard just hasn't been hitting shots. He has been super inefficient. It's been happening a majority of the season, but there was about a month or 6 week stretch there where he was playing much more to his normal, or you want to say Blazers caliber. But in January, he was under 40% from the field, under 30% from three. To start out February, he had a couple good games where he was really hot, then a couple games where he was really off, like that Grizzlies game. And they had some tough losses over this stretch too. He lost to the Heat, who had been ravaged with injuries, to the Grizzlies. And there was one other team in there, Portland, I believe. All games they're expected to win. There's championship level team. You could slip up here and there, but you can't have 3 losses, especially in the span of a week or 10 days. So things for the Bucs, maybe this All-Star weekend with Dame winning the 3-point contest and All-Star MVP. This turns the season around some way, somehow. But I said in the last episode that I would not have the Bucs in the championship contender. They can make the ECF if things could go their way and Dame finds himself again, but I don't think they're in a caliber to win a championship.
I had a Would You Rather, but I'm trying to cook up some names.
That's right. Trevor's not back yet. Here he is. You almost had the dog in here, bro. Do you have it this week in the NBA / NFL?
Oh, sure, man.
Yes.
Because Riv didn't do his job.
Scrambling?
Yep.
No, I'm cooking up something. It just popped in my head. I had something I was going to talk about, but I'd rather just do Would You Rather. I'm lying? Okay. All
right. Do it Would You Rather then.
He doesn't have his shit either.
You don't?
No.
So I'm cooking up names. Give me a second. I just need 3 more.
Would you rather? I just seen this on Twitter actually. Who's the better player right now? J-Dub or Chet?
Probably right now J-Dub. Even though on the defensive side, you
Two-part
obviously
question
know the
actually.
inside.
So right now I think it's also been J-Dub.
Offense
I have
J-Dub,
my This
defense
Week in the
Chet.
NBA.
Okay.
Yeah, I do.
And
Did
long
we
term.
stop recording or just
No.
one of those? Or we're just rolling
Well,
off
I
the
have the
time
timestamp, so I'm definitely going to edit some of this stuff out. So,
Oh, okay.
Whenever you guys want to start.
All right, yeah, no.
It's like the best, bro.
Shout out to Mike
That's
Conley.
what you do, you know?
Shout out to Mike Conley getting an extension with the Minnesota Timberwolves.
Nice.
Pretty
I love
funny.
that.
Yeah, you got to give some love to Mike Conley.
He's the sorry not to cut you off.
It's okay.
I saw a nerd sesh though. Mike Conley, I think has the second most threes by a lefty in NBA history, second or third most threes by an NBA.
Yeah.
That's a lefty legend.
Yeah, no. Listen, that's why I had to acknowledge you. You know, I love and support all lefties
done?
in the world.
Oh my god.
The guy doesn't do his job and now wants to cut me off.
I'm ready.
2 years, $21 million extension. Again, when you are the Minnesota Timberwolves, I think that we understand playmaking in that department is definitely a necessity. And you keep the veteran on. You understand that health has been a little bit of an issue for Mike, but you know that you are better with him, and you need to keep one of your few playmakers on your squad, especially Mike, who's a solid one at that. They're a little bit longer. Hopefully in that time frame you can find his future replacement, because I do think that they do need another playmaker on top of Mike Conley. You understand Anthony Edwards kind of has that capability, could improve that aspect of his game slightly, but at the same time I thought that this was a great move.
They're gonna be a second apron team.
They might.
Yeah, that'll be interesting.
Interesting thing about Mike Conley. Mike Conley has been a part of 3 franchises that have had their best season in history with him. The Memphis Grizzlies, the Utah Jazz, and now on pace, Minnesota Timberwolves.
That's
The
lit.
poor
He's
man
just a winner.
Chauncey Billups. He's a winner. I have a Would You Rather. Let's
do it.
We haven't done one in a while. Would you rather Jonathan Kuminga?
Let's do it.
Got to spice it up with
It's
some
a hot
names.
one.
Yeah, so we got a star in here and some young players around his age.
I saw what you gave his ceiling to today,
Yeah,
or
people-
someone replied to you.
And people thought I meant like Jaylen Brown at his best.
He said his ceiling was JB.
Yeah, but I meant like 2-3 years ago, Jaylen Brown.
That's always been Kuminga ceiling out of the draft,
Sure,
though.
yeah.
It
'Cause
was
they had
Jaylen
the
Brown.
same. They were both raw, you know.
Yeah, super athletic.
Didn't they call him Paul George 2.0?
Rafe probably did.
I thought out of the draft that was a big comp of his.
I never thought it was a count, just
I think
because
it was more Brown. Yeah, I don't think so. I don't think it was him. But would you rather Jonathan Kuminga, first name up, Jalen Johnson?
I'm going with Jonathan Kuminga.
Kuminga. Yeah. I think
Just FYI, I'm picking Kuminga everyone, so I don't need to say
Every
anything.
single one. That's tough.
It's a very tough one.
I like Jalen. I think he can facilitate. I feel like that's an underrated part of his game, too. I might go Jalen here.
Okay. Next name up, Brandon Miller.
Brandon Miller.
I'm going with Brandon Miller.
I'm still with Brandon Miller.
Oh, this should be
I'm
a
going
play,
Brandon Miller.
Respectfully.
I was trolling him.
I'm saying Kuminga, everyone.
Number 3, Asar Thompson.
I'm going with Jonathan Kuminga.
This is a tricky one.
I'm probably taking Kuminga too. There's still a lot of work offensively.
Kuminga's
Sar
like a
needs.
year or two
It's
older.
the
too.
biggest thing is his shot.
Well,
You
can
gotta
also,
trust his shot.
Also, on top of the fact that his shot's not good, his coach has failed to put him in position to succeed. And for that reason, although Kerr hasn't been all too great of his own right up until recently,
Fixing. Right
he's
his
trying.
wrongs.
He's right. Agreed. I will go Kuminga for that aspect. His shot is not good, not by any means. And then on top of it, the situation's horrendous.
I think Asar's a better defender, but Kuminga's a better offensive player while just giving you around the same on defense. I'll go Kuminga here. Number 4, Brandon Ingram.
I'm going Brandon Ingram.
Brandon Ingram.
I had to add a star.
Brandon
in
Ingram's
here,
a better player right now. Sure.
Maybe.
What do we mean, maybe?
I'll go Brandon Ingram here
So
too.
interesting tidbit. Did you know that Asar Thompson is younger than Jonathan Kuminga by only a couple months? They're both 21 years
Well,
old.
I said he was older by like a year, but I guess I was wrong on the time. Yeah. Kuminga's either younger than some of these guys or they're around the same age. He's mad.
Kuminga's
young.
only 21. He'll be 22 at the start of next season.
That's
Damn.
insane. Next name up, which could get a little spicy. Cam Whitmore.
I'm gonna go with
That's a tough one.
That is a tough one.
I'm
I
gonna go
feel
with
like
Jonathan
I'm
Kuminga.
gonna need to see a little bit more out of both of these guys before a solid answer on this. But
Yeah.
if you're gonna put me on the spot,
have to.
I'll take Kuminga for him showing a little bit more this season. Although Cam Whitmore, the way that it's trending, his ceiling seems to be a little bit higher.
He's been
He
great.
was
yeah.
one of the youngest players in his draft last class, if I'm not
He
mistaken.
was the youngest.
Yeah, he just hasn't. I mean, Kuminga's an integral part to
No,
the
that's
Warriors.
wrong.
in the
G.G.
starting
Jackson.
lineup now.
Apologize.
Yes. So he was definitely one of them.
Needs some more time. Cam Whitmore could be. I'll take Kuminga right
I'm
now.
going Cam Whitmore.
They're similar players.
Yeah, for sure.
You're
going
taking Cam Whitmore.
I'm taking Cam Whitmore.
I understand.
Yeah.
I
No,
get.
he's-
You know, I said his ceiling is higher. I'll stay with my answer though.
Next name up, I think this is clean sweep. J-Dub.
J-Dub.
J-Dub, yeah.
Yes. Next name, Keegan Murray.
I like Keegan.
I like Keegan too. He's
Keegan
I like Keegan.
has quietly been an all defensive player this year.
And he has
He's an
the
elite
ratchet.
defender.
He has been a good defender.
I'm gonna go Keegan.
I'm going Keegan Murray too.
I think I'll go Kuminga.
Keegan would just fit on every team. I have no questions about
would.
it. That's why I lean Keegan.
Next name up, Trey Murphy. I think
Trey's
for me
not
it's
been that
easily
good
Kuminga.
this year. Well,
You think it's easily
his
Kuminga?
previous
For me.
years.
This is based on fit. I think Trey Murphy is a better fit on more teams. I really do.
been
Kuminga,
struggling.
he does have a higher ceiling. He does have a higher ceiling.
Yeah,
for sure.
I think I would lean Kuminga. That's close though. Because the ceiling is
This
there.
for last year's.
But then I said Keegan, and that's kind of like
I feel like that's why we're doing it.
Keegan's
now.
Yeah.
more polished than Trey though.
that's fair. Defensively,
that's
Trey's
tough.
just so different.
That's tough. I'm gonna look over this little snide that he's been on. I'm gonna go Trey Murphy, but understanding Kuminga's still great in his own right.
Last name up, G.G. Jackson.
Another one that's too soon to say. I'm gonna do the same thing I just did for Cam Whitmore and give myself that caveat.
You threw in a lot of rookies, dude.
Nah, I threw him 2, 3.
Kuminga's in
So
year
he's
3.
21.
Brandon Miller's 20.
Brandon
They're
Miller.
all the same age.
But you just told me that Asar and him are like a couple months apart.
No, they are, but G.G. Jackson is 18 years old.
No, I
that was
understand.
the odd one, but Brandon Miller's 20.
G.G. Jackson, Brandon Miller,
20.
Asar Thompson,
21.
Cam Whitmore.
19.
I honestly, this was well done.
I'm
Made me
comparing
think.
dudes who've had the same amount of stretch as Kuminga.
that's fair.
Made me think.
This is the first year Kuminga's really had a stretch.
This is a
like
good would you rather.
I appreciate. You know what? You two guys.
I didn't say it was bad. I just said it's a lot of rookies.
you
It's
gonna-
hard to compare a rookie to like a third,
right,
fourth
he's
year
not
player.
really.
right.
But this is
to be fair,
isn't
he's
really
not really
exactly.
a third, fourth year player.
This is like Kuminga Loki is like
His first year doesn't count.
Yeah, I would say
Ignore
this
his
is like basically his first year. You could really judge.
I
him.
agree.
NBA development, dude.
Kerr is not good at.
So you would take him over G.G. Jackson.
Well, you know, I was high on both guys.
G.G. Jackson, if he were to get drafted next year, would have been a top probably 3, 4.
Like this year, he'd be a
pick.
top 10 pick, top
Yeah.
5 pick.
Kuminga would have been a top 3 pick in this upcoming draft too.
He was still top 7 in his own draft.
Kuminga might go 1 in this draft.
No, that's what I'm saying. Like this draft is kind of weak.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For Gigi's only 18. He's getting an opportunity now.
I don't know.
Memphis, he's in Memphis, his development team. They're one of the best in the
Scotty,
league.
this high touted prospect coming out, like from what I remember,
Scotty?
I don't remember Scotty.
Scotty was high.
I remember for a while it was Kuminga over Scotty.
It was.
Because of potential, but Scotty was always in the top 5 conversations. He was always in those conversations.
Okay.
It was surprising went 4.
That class was like 9 to 10 guys that were really highly touted. Like Suggs was high.
For sure.
Kuminga was high. Scotty
Mobley,
K, Jalen Green, Mobley. Like, you even had Moody was getting buzzed. Like, he was getting in the top. Like, that class was coming out different.
And they slept on Şengün, man.
We all did, unfortunately. We didn't sleep on Giddy.
But Gigi or Kuminga, you haven't answered that.
I have to say Kuminga. I'd say Kuminga.
Are you going to take Gigi?
I love Gigi's upside. I think he's going to be amazing.
Gigi's
That's why
really
it's hard for me. That's
I
why
agree.
this is hard for me.
Gigi in Memphis, that's
Can
tough.
we wait on this
Do you
one?
think there's going to be any, not issues, but when Ja's back, when Bane's back, when the whole team is healthy and Gigi's kind of have to fit his role as
That's gonna be the
18,
tricky part.
19, that's why there might be like a dip in, touches. He's not going to get as many touches now where he's damn near the number 1 option every night. But how is he going to be able to fit into this team where it turns from, I'm just putting up numbers to we're trying to go.
It's a little different because Kuminga's kind of worked his way in, and now he's playing with the stars. He's a starter now. So he's learned to play with them and then without them. So it's a tricky situation. I think GG, given the fact that, like I said before, it's Memphis, they develop well, and I don't think Ja's a selfish player. Bane isn't a selfish player. Jaren doesn't really need the ball. So I think the fact that him and Vince Williams, they found those 2 guys, I think they're going to fit fine next to them. It's just
Do you think
about
the
finding
Grizzlies
angle.
wish this happened last year?
Yes.
Tragic.
So I thought about what you just mentioned because I made a 2K franchise where I'm the Grizzlies. I drafted Sar with my top pick. Gigi Jackson at first started for me. He wasn't playing
What's
that
his overall
well.
right now?
He's an 80.
Okay.
Yeah, he at first started for me, but then he wasn't playing that well. It kind of took from everybody else. So
He's
I
at
moved
80
him
in
to the
2K
bench.
right now?
No, just in my league.
okay.
A year into it.
What was he to start?
He's
Like
like
a
a 77, 78 right
77?
now.
Oh, okay.
Let me ask you guys a question because some breaking news. We're here. We're going to start streaming 2K, and
Here
I
we
said
go.
that goes hand in hand with the My League that we were talking about in the last podcast. I was thinking a little bit more about it. I don't know if I want to put 30 teams in it. I feel like that could get a little bit hectic, especially with the idea that I do want to do a draft. So I figure if we do that...
Well, we still have to draft for computer.
For sure, but that's still quick. The computer...
That is true.
I was trying to limit it to 15 teams. Do half
I'm with that.
half people, half CPU.
You're going to stream it?
For sure, we'll stream the
I could
draft.
join with you?
We could do that. Of course, the 4 spots are solidified. We get an extra 11.
Should we tell him to DM you?
No, I meant like I could join the stream with you.
Oh yeah, you're more than welcome to.
Kuminga
I got to
relief.
figure out how to do that.
Yeah, I'm funny.
CPU, I hate CPU, man.
I'm scared.
30
Why am I
teams, though.
scared?
30
Nah.
teams are so much.
The thing is, I think the
Why
difficulty.
would I be scared of
CPU's
CPU?
tough.
No, they are tough.
No,
This year, 2K,
What?
they're tough. I'm
What?
just letting you know.
I play
Hall of Fame
All I do is play
CPU?
franchise. All I do is
But
play
do you play
franchise.
Hall of
franchise
Fame
on real
CPU?
player, though?
Yes, I played Hall of Fame.
Hall of Fame real player?
Real player percentage? No, I do the shots.
Try it. That shit's going to up the level. Try it.
I
Trust
like
me,
to
try
have
it.
some sort of
Nah.
control of what I
Nah,
make.
trust me. Try it. You're really going to be like locked in.
See,
like,
but that's what I was
every day.
thinking. If I was gonna make like the settings and all that, like when Pierre was on it, he was saying like on-ball defense only, and I agree. We should only be playing on-ball
yeah.
defense. And I only say half 15 or half real, half fake for the idea
So
that
the draft
the
goes
draft
faster?
will take a lifetime, and then 30 heads. There ain't no way we're gonna get all 30 heads to lock in and play their games
first
week
pick
by
is
week
John
by
Moran.
week by week.
In
I don't
2K,
know.
it's Ja Morant.
I've done this Madden league and I have about like 26, 28 people that lock in.
That's impressive.
There are some
Madden,
teams
they
that
lock in more, though.
there are some teams that they're up in arms. They kind of don't schedule their games. It depends. I understand what you're saying though. I think it's all about scheduling just the perfect time for everybody to draft. Really, that's the thing. But we can go either way. I'm fine with either way.
We're going to lock that in. But for now, follow Andrew. 5A's 201.
Shameless plug. Follow Andrew. 5A's 201. Andrew 201 on Twitch. We will start streaming. I'm thinking of streaming relatively soon. Probably going to stream the My League most definitely, like I mentioned. Going to stream a lot of me playing rec with the guys, and maybe I'll dabble with some other games. Apparently, like this game Helldivers 2.
I heard it's fire.
Nah, I heard it's OD. My brother, and shout out to our boy Tyler. He was pushing us to get this game.
He was.
So, he made it himself.
He was on before everyone else
For
was
sure,
on.
and now the servers are like too over saturated.
What
Where
is the game about?
So I think you're running with a squad, and there's a bunch of insects, and it's you trying to kill these insects before they kill you. That's just the kind of general synopsis that I got. I could be off.
But there's like a whole nother I don't know. I don't play. It's PlayStation PC exclusive. It's not Xbox.
It is. I do have a PlayStation,
bastards.
So that's why I say I was.
But like, there's
about
like different planets and shit, and like together as a community, you like all like save the planets in a sense. Like there's like some planets are like 70% saved, the others are like 30. I don't know what happens when they're all saved.
Sounds fire. I might have to download
It's
that.
a good ask. Well, you got to pay for it. 40 beans.
That's not bad.
But 40 in
I think it's
2024?
40, yeah.
What the fuck?
I'm
That's all
saving
good.
up for WWE.
I
Knew when
can't
it's coming
wait.
out.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you know what?
Wait.
Listen,
It looks
I may
like it's
be-
going to be different this year.
I may be
Yeah.
in the minority.
Different.
They have CM Punk.
I don't like WWE.
And the
2K.
way that
You
this
don't?
year, Drew, this year it might be the one.
Yeah,
Might give you that 08 vibe.
I don't know.
It gets
man.
boring.
It's this. It really is the same. It really is the same over and over and over. But so is 2K, I guess. You're just playing basketball, but I feel like at least there's a little variation there. It's not like every game's the same. You are doing similar things in terms of dribbling, shooting, dunking.
By the way, our
lays.
league game is about to start.
Yeah. Did you tell him that we weren't going?
No.
Oh my god.
No, I told TJ.
Okay.
Yeah. What's over and number? What you think?
We're gonna
Let's have a little fun here. What do you
right.
think they're gonna lose by?
Realistically,
You guys skipped on your game.
well, we're recording.
Yeah, you're right.
We're so okay with missing today. Though. I
Nah,
couldn't
when-
even tell you how
when-
okay.
I think that's the best team in
When
the
Riv
league.
told me
Yes.
who we were playing, I said, "Thank God we were recording."
Y'all duck smoke, kind of like how
No, we played them
Dehls
already.
was ducking me.
We did play them.
How was I ducking you?
Yeah, I asked him to play 2K the other
Oh
night.
yeah.
and he did
Nah,
not
I'll
respond.
be honest. I was not.
No,
was ducking me.
we played them already and we lost. And
Yo, I was glad that the comments section called you out on being bad.
On 2K?
Yeah.
Well, I knew they're just probably like sweats and stuff. You know, I hate the 2K.
Do you think I'm a sweat?
oh look,
No, I don't think you're a sweat.
Seb just texted me. I hate you, SMD.
Damn.
yeah.
No, I don't think you're a sweat.
On
no.
soft.
But damn, he said suck it mushy.
That's a little crazy. I'll be honest.
Nah, sucking it mushy's nuts.
Nuts, man.
But I'll tell you what, I've been having a lot of fun playing on my big. My big has the ratchet, and it's so lit just being good on the inside, being able to shoot the ball.
I actually have some news for you. I made another build yesterday.
What kind of build? Paul George?
Lonzo Ball.
Oh, another point guard.
No, but listen, he's 6'7" with a 7'2" wingspan.
Okay.
He's kind of like a shooting guard, small forward. This is what I noticed about myself in 2K. I made a point guard the first time around. That's the player I played with. But the skill set of the point guard is a point guard that can dribble a lot and can shoot, you know, like fall back threes and stuff. A shot creating point guard. But then I just looked in the mirror and I got honest with myself. And I said, who are you as a 2K basketball player? And I said, okay, I'm a center because I could rebound, I could rim run, and I play defense. How do I translate that into another position, small forward or guard? And I said, let me just make a Patrick Beverly type point guard. So I can shoot well, I can pass good, not great or elite.
75?
I can handle, yes, it's like 80 pass
Perfect.
accuracy. I can handle the ball good, and my on-ball defense is straps. I got Hall of Fame clamps. I could get to it.
Lit.
So I'm a defensive first player, and my role is essentially to just lock up other 2K players and
What's
just
your
hit
shooting?
open shots. My shooting is at, I didn't update, I didn't like spend a
fine,
ton of
that's
VC
fine,
on
that's
it.
fine.
Right now it's 70, but it could go up to like 80, 86.
This player sounds amazing.
Yeah, no, he's like my comparison
No
for
dunk?
No, I can dunk too. I have
What the fuck?
posterizer actually as a badge.
Why did you tweak?
Yeah, I went crazy. The archetype I built, it said shades of LaMelo Ball, Lonzo Ball, Ron Harper. That was my three I got.
So wait, what's your interior defense?
It's non-existent.
Okay.
I had to sacrifice.
So you're just a perimeter defender.
These quarterbacks are old, man.
Yeah.
What's your steal?
It's at like 90. No, yeah,
What
I'm
the-
lock up.
Any rebounds?
Yeah, I got the defensive rebound up to like 70, but my offensive rebound, it's non-existent.
I'm trying to understand how the hell you got to an 86.3.
What's
It
his,
took me like
what's
15
his
minutes.
athleticism?
Oh, he's athletic.
Okay.
Yeah. It took me a while to get to fine tune it and stuff.
Bro, but you can dunk. Your leg can't be good.
My layup is average.
Like a 70?
Yeah, like around there.
I need to take a look at this.
Yeah, like my close shot is terrible. I will tell you
Makes
that.
sense.
My close shot is terrible.
You can shoot 86.
Stand and
from
dunk
three.
is
That's
terrible.
okay.
Who
cares?
What I sacrificed
I'm wondering.
is I sacrificed my mid range shot. My mid range shot is 64. But
Okay.
then I was like, you know, am I gonna? I don't shoot mid ranges.
64 midi is fine.
Yeah, I'm just gonna shoot
Because
threes.
if you know the release, you can hit it. If you're wide open.
So that's what I
happened to Kool-Aid
sacrificed.
McKinstry?
McKinsey.
What about him?
He fell off so bad. He's like,
Yeah, I mean, he still be a You know,
Yeah, I'm like
day
fifth
two
in
pick
their
at worst.
power.
Second round
He
pick
used to
at
be
worst.
like top 2, right, in his position.
Yeah, but it's hard to project like
Lean
years
in.
down the road.
Me and Drew, we have this thing where after we lose today, we have guys who are playing for their contracts for next year,
It's crazy.
for the next 3 games.
We're really talking about this.
They're never gonna watch this part, so actually I
It's-
can say their names.
It's sad.
Yeah, so because we picked up Frank, we picked up Tyler.
Oh, they're playing?
Yeah.
Oh, tough.
They locked in.
Are they? Did they go to the game or no?
Not yet.
It's
They
for next
should come
year.
to one of the games to see what's going on. But
Oh, they
yeah,
haven't played yet. Okay.
next season, they locked in. We have guys in block. We have guys fighting for their lives right now. You know, we have a few lock spots. Me, Drew, KJ, of course, Ruben, and with Ruben brings Seb, so 5.
CJ?
He's one of the guys fighting for us.
Oh, no.
He's on a bubble.
Oh, no.
He's on the bubble. Him,
Oh, no.
Ozzy, and Steve are fighting for their
I
lives right
think
now.
Ozzy solidified himself, even though he probably missed more layups than he probably should have. But at the same time, Ozzy is high energy, good defense, can hit a shot, can pass all right. But his layups,
He can't make
it's
open
mind blowing
layups,
to me.
What type of competition do you guys play?
It really varies. We haven't won a game, so maybe
The best team. How do they
Oh.
look like?
They're nice. They're like
they have
They're
they
like
have
a D2 team?
no.
they have
D3.
they have the rec league Paul George. The best team has the rec league Paul
He had
George.
40.
Did he kill us for 40?
They have a couple dudes that play on the community college, old school guys that used to play.
How tall is the team on average?
I was guarding Paul George.
Nah, bro. I'm
He's
being
like
honest with you.
6'5".
Average height is
wow.
like 6'2".
Average height was
6'3".
Drew.
wow.
The shortest guy was Drew's height.
Okay.
The ones that played. No, it was one guy that was shorter. Then the rest of the guys was Drew's height. Then like 3 guys were like 6'5".
I'm not short, but when I'm the tallest guy on our team, we have an issue.
Yeah, you need more
Yeah, Frank
size.
is
on the
taller now.
super shoot.
Sure.
That's what I'm saying. Getting Frank is huge.
I was guarding Paul George.
So I can play
He
my
gave me
position.
about 40.
Power forward.
It's pretty bad. And then the other teams, it depends. It could be like the old head teams that are like just really fundamentally sound. And then it'd be like young teams that we just played last week where they had just 2 young guards that kind of play like us. It really varies on like
Bro,
who
I'm
do
gonna be
you
honest.
play.
That one guard killed us for at least 30.
Not us.
Jeez.
I don't know, bro. It was kind of you.
I have the tape. So like the tape can't lie to me.
He
you
plays
guarding
on the
him?
perimeter. No.
It was on KJ. It wasn't on me.
Was it on KJ?
You made it seem like you had nothing to do
Talk
with
about the
it.
little brown skin one, right? Of
course.
Okay, first of all, I'll tell you exactly how it happened. I was guarding him at the beginning of the game. We switch everything. That is what we do.
You have
We
to.
switch everything. His man, he always called for a screen, happened to be CJ's man who's guarding, or Seb's man. So if he sets a screen, we're switching. You know, he gets to pull up middies. I'm like, all right, he's going to get that.
Bro,
cool
he
like
must
that.
have won like 9 for 12
He
on middies.
might have went like 6 for 6 on straight mid-range shots. So, but once he like go to the, I blocked him a few times.
Once he
but,
came into the paint, it wasn't. I mean, he was athletic. He could jump.
Yeah, but second half, I switched on the other white boy because the white boy was killing KJ. So I was like,
was.
KJ, all right, you just go there. I'll go here. But then, like, I was guarding white boy. So.
Nah, I was the roamer. I was the Giannis of the group. I really was all over the place, calling out screens.
For sure, yeah. It's
Kind of crazy. I really wasn't expecting to come in and be arguably the best player on the team.
It's not arguably.
You know what's crazy?
I don't know why
How
I keep
this
saying
conversation is likely more entertaining than the entire All-Star weekend.
Could
that.
be.
Cooked. You guys should pull up one day.
I would.
If we make the playoffs.
I don't know if I can commit a full season.
It's only like 7 games.
I tell you what, if we make the playoffs, slide.
Okay.
Yeah,
You
right.
definitely are the perfect center. They need
Yeah.
someone like you.
I just wouldn't be able to commit. Like, I know there's be days I'm like, I don't want to do
You
this.
can be Brooke Lopez of the group.
Just show up
You
sometime.
got the strap, and you can be a rim protector.
Oh.
I'll be honest, we need a committed guy.
Yeah.
We don't need a guy showing up here.
When do you guys typically play?
Tuesdays.
Tuesdays.
What time? Like 9?
It's late, bro.
9 and 10.
10 is be the nut. 10 be the late ones.
Now, my mom and dad, when I told them 10 o'clock, they're like, how is that even possible? How is that allowed?
Dudes be so energetic when they walk in there. It's actually
I'd be
insane.
tight, bro.
Like, it's insane, bro.
That's late.
I'll be honest, man. I've had a ball.
It's definitely fun and hilarious.
It's been so great to see me be good. Thanks. Means a lot to me.
Draymond Green.
You better than
Yo, I won't lie.
He's better than Riff?
Nah, I won't say I'm flat out better than
the
them.
But
only
there's-
thing he's better at.
It's the most important thing in the game.
is 3-point shooting.
It's scoring.
That's it. No, it's 3-point shooting.
Okay.
He's not better at the rim than me, and neither of us take mid-range jumpers. Like, not
So
at
who
all.
have you been trying to look at to add on to the team?
We're just trying to take out guys who do nothing and add in guys who do something.
Like Frank is a body. We need a body.
And allegedly he
Frank
plays
come in-
defense.
Yes.
And Tyler can shoot. See, we're trying to add shit like
I
that. You know,
respect that.
CJ can no longer shoot, and he cannot play defense. Steve can shoot, but can't play defense.
Have you ever tried trying to get JC on the team or no?
I had JC before, but he's timid when he plays in games.
Okay, I see.
You know how he gets sometimes.
You know, yeah.
A little timid. So We had some time.
I know. Growing up, there was always those guys in the gym that were dumb nice, but then once they got in the game, they just
Here's the
didn't
truth.
play that well.
If I ever learn how to dribble, I will clear this man. If I ever learn how to dribble, it's scary
He's
hours.
such a liar.
I'm not lying.
He doesn't play better defense than me.
My defense is good.
But you don't play better defense than me. You're not a better playmaker than me.
Small dude fucking do you in.
You're lying.
My playmaking.
What I just said.
My playmaking.
What did the big man do to you guys?
Which big man?
The big man that won MVP.
He fired me once.
We played him once.
Who?
He won MVP.
Who?
The big dude we played last week, 2 weeks ago.
He was MVP.
Yeah, because he gave y'all 25 and 12.
Unjustified. The MVP should have been small brown dude.
Small brown dude didn't even have game high.
That's insane, bro. I felt like he didn't miss.
Actually, Kate, you had more points. Me and you had more points than him.
I don't believe that.
I'm telling you.
25 and 12.
Gave him Seb
He did.
and Ruben
he only scored
25
me
and
legitimately
12.
once.
He's lying. I have the film.
I have the film. I have the film.
Don't
He
they
scored
have
me
these
once.
stats on
He
Instagram?
shimmied me.
Yeah.
He looked like Hakeem. He got me.
That's cool. That's
he
cool.
got me.
He was killing
I
him.
literally went to him. I'm like, you got it.
He destroyed our front court.
He did.
This is the team that's dumb nice?
No.
They're not nice at all. They're
this is
good.
a whack team?
They're like us.
Okay.
Okay.
We should have won.
Was it CJ in the funk? Who's
They're
in the
not
funk?
that good.
CJ?
They beat us.
CJ told me
Is he
to
still
my
in his
face.
funk?
He told me to my face, eye to eye as a man. I said, yo, what's up? What's going on? He's like, I'm in a funk. I was like, on defense? He was like, yeah. Just like, what?
I know. Is he out of his funk? Or we're going to find it tonight.
Yeah.
We're going to find it tonight.
He's I was like, you can't call out screens. He was like, yeah, I'm just in a funk. I was just like, all right, well.
He's just not thinking when he's
Yeah, I
playing.
was just like, okay.
I'm gonna be honest, bro. Being antisocial and trying to play basketball, they can't correlate in terms of being
You have to
loud.
talk, yeah.
You have to talk.
Just got to be one of those guys that takes up the slack.
Brother, he
honestly.
doesn't say a word.
That's why I'm out there screaming like an idiot on a basketball court. But someone has to do it. Riv knows. He knows. I'm sneaking up on him. He better lock in. That's why he had to lock in this last game. And that's why I gave him his credit.
Bro,
It was his best game by far.
we're like, it's like, I'm trying to think. We're like Steph and Clay. That's what we are. That's what we are. He's the shooter.
I'm 2016 Trey. I'm telling you.
He's the shooter, and I'm the all-around player, bro. That's really what.
I'm an all-around player too. Except I can't dribble, man. It's fucking upsetting.
Can't dribble, can't play, make.
I can play
He
make.
ran down the court dribbling with his
Yo,
left on the
he's
right
lying.
side.
That was bad. That was bad.
Like, he looks crazy
No,
doing
I
it, bro.
won't lie. That's the moment I knew I have to hit the lap. It was embarrassing.
No, but he's great shooter. Great shooter. I'll give him that. I will give him that.
Did you
good
not-
post-up defender.
did you
Good
not
post
see
defender.
facts?
He's not good in the perimeter. You will blow past him with ease.
If you blow it past me though, I'm gonna recover.
Foul.
Exactly. Don't score. Make it free throws.
He's great
Bro,
shooter, though.
Did you not see the play that I put up on Twitter that first game that I hit him with the bounce pass?
Yeah, that's
playmaking.
He has his moments. He has his moments.
How many
I'm
assists do you
gonna.
average?
I won't lie. Like 2-3. Like 2-3.
He's being nice.
Not
It might
even.
be like one or
Bro,
two.
A lot of
gonna
hockey assists.
I'm gonna
And
be
then
no.
Dehls, why you over there? Ask him who gives him the majority of his assists.
Well, because someone needs to fucking see me. I'm wide open.
He's the point guard.
He is the point guard.
Hey, Rip, do you damn job.
And also,
do.
You know who gave me a lot of my assists last game? Ironically, CJ.
Makes sense. I'm glad he did.
He
'Cause
did.
him shooting those instead of you probably
I'm
lost
gonna
by
be
more.
honest. I am a good ass passer. I had some good passing. I don't know why he's underrating that part
Passer,
of my game.
playmaker, not the same thing.
But I score and I pass well.
You shoot.
Put them together.
He shoots parking lot threes.
I drove. Dang. I drove to the basket last game.
Did you?
I did.
Last game, did you?
White boy on white boy.
Yes, you did.
Yeah,
You
I
did.
did.
Yes,
I
you
took him
did.
off the
Yes,
dribble.
you
I was like, lackadaisical. Riv's like, yo, Drew, what are you doing? And I fucking took off and I laid it on him.
He probably has 88% of shots outside the paint on the 3-point line, and then like the next 12 in the paint.
He's right. He's right. I have the ratchet.
So
Sorry.
if you were giving yourself an overall, what's your overall and what's Drew's?
Like in that league, me and Drew are probably like,
what, 84, 83?
yeah. I was gonna say 85s, but 84, 83, I can live with that.
We have on a game. I'm just going to stick to 84.
It's like 80, us 84, 83. My cousin like 80. Then the rest.
So
like
you're an
60.
84, you're the 83.
I'm the 84 for sure.
Okay, you're the 83?
If I had dribbling, I'd be an 88.
I mean, if I had the shooting, I'd be a 95. So
Yo, the shot selection's so bad from him sometimes. But if it
he's
goes
hilarious. It's just his isn't bad because he makes it. We have the same shot selection. He
have
just
the
makes
ratchet.
it. So he can't
I'm
really say that.
allowed.
You know what I'm saying?
I'm
Like,
allowed. Like,
Shit,
let me ask
Jalen
you a
Green
question.
and Steph could take the same threes. I want
Thank
Steph
you.
to take those.
Thank you. That's all I'm going to
my
say.
shot selection's not that bad.
What was that tweet? You don't run Steph Curry plays for Tony Parker. That's the
facts.
truth.
That's a fact.
You're cooking.
Two can be great, but at the same time, hey, I got a little bit more range.
You guys are funny, man.
I have a good shot.
You guys are the Nets of this league.
You're Mikal Bridges.
And you're Cam Thomas?
Yes. Nah.
I was gonna say you can't be
Hell
Cam
no.
Thomas.
We're like,
I don't want to call him Spencer Dinwiddie. That'd be rude.
I'm better.
You're
Dorian
last year
Finney-Smith?
Spencer Dinwiddie.
Dorian Finney.
Are you cool with last year Spencer Dinwiddie?
We're like John Wall and Bradley Beal.
I don't know if I'd give us that compliment.
Take Bradley Beal's handling out the equation, and we're here.
Can I be Cam Johnson?
Fine.
I feel like I'm not Mikal Bridges. I'm not.
Or it could be Ben Simmons with a shot. That's Draymond Green, essentially.
I'm telling you, my best comp is 2016 Draymond.
I'm John Wall.
Yeah, it's pretty accurate. He is John Wall.
Is he one of the more explosive guys in the league?
He's the more aggressive for sure.
Okay.
If you want to put explosive and aggressive,
That's valid. Yeah.
because he gets to the rim, unlike a lot of the guys. Like they'll lackadaisically
this might be a
dribble.
good comp. Dennis Schroeder.
Nah, Dennis Schroeder low-key can shoot. Though.
He plays on the Nets, too.
Okay, I do play a little bit like.
I think Dennis Schroeder has a better jump shot than Riv. Obviously, he's in the NBA, but in terms of like comparatively speaking,
So relative to league.
yeah, relative to the league, I think Dennis shoots better than Riv.
What about Edmund Summer?
We can fix his jumper.
He's not fast enough. I'm really fast.
What's wrong with his number?
His elbow
Sumner's
flares.
fast.
Okay.
Yeah, he's 6'7".
He looks like a flarer.
No, his shit is really like this.
Shit looks butter when
It's-
it go up though.
Oh my god, not really.
I'm not talking about I'm talking about when I get in the groove off
Yeah,
the
it
dribble.
probably
shit
feels
looks-
good.
You see it off the bounce, and then it's just like, you know what I'm saying?
He's too push. Like that doesn't really go up and around, but you got to keep that elbow in.
I gave out some grades for the All-Star Weekend stuff.
I forgot we had that.
It's fine to talk about it now.
I gave the celebrity game an F.
You're still upset about
Guys,
Kyle?
Matt.
It's always an F, though, to be fair. It's always. I
What
think
if
celebrity
Guys and
game-
Nat played 48 minutes?
I'll give it a C. I think the celebrity game is always pretty bad.
Did you see Shannon Sharp?
I did.
That was funny.
If they
as
have an
fuck.
episode, that would be an insane.
He was
episode.
on it.
No, I'm talking about like a full day in person, like on Club Shay Shay.
Yeah, that would be awesome.
Never forget when Shay said, "Nah, I usually make him shit." Why did he say all that? He said when he's smashing some girl, he doesn't make him fart. He makes him shit usually.
I'd see that.
Oh, that's what it was. A girl accidentally farted while he was fucking, and then he said, "It's all right, baby. I don't usually make him fart. I make him shit."
He's funny for that.
Nah, bro, that was funny as sin. I almost said shit, ironically, but
The Rising Stars game, I gave a B plus. I thought it was all right. The 3-point contest, I gave an A.
hey,
The dunk
always is.
contest, I gave an F.
yeah.
Yeah.
I'm not mad.
Do you guys agree?
Would you level with a D minus? Mac McClung in air catch was
That
pretty
was
cool.
tough. That was tough.
And
was.
also,
Talking about one dunk out of like
no, there was another dunk.
I still think it was an F.
Toppin's
Yeah,
360
it was
through the
good.
legs. That was OD.
It was underrated.
That
the
was
judges
OD.
botched the score on that.
Sabrina versus Steph was the best in my opinion.
My God,
that was electric.
prime time.
It was awesome. I feel like I seen people give out a take of not being critical towards Jaylen Brown because he's the one star trying to revive the dunk contest. And I would agree with that if the dunks weren't so bad. Like if the dunks were respectable,
Yeah, he was.
I can
just,
level.
I mean, he was just
He
like,
did
trying
try.
to get
The creativity
creative.
was
Yeah,
there.
like, but I said this before that he's a great in-game dunker, but like he doesn't have this like ridiculous out of the world athleticism where he's putting between his legs and women. Like he's just not really doing that, you know.
Yeah, he's not.
But the 3-point contest was electric. We were watching Dame right at the end. He needed one more shot. He missed like 3-4 in a row, and he hit it. I was like, damn. Hate to
Now
see
he
that.
clutched.
He did.
We
clutch.
were in there lit. Like
I'm glad I called it.
Is there any way to fix this?
The All-Star game itself, you're saying?
The weekend in general, but more so the game. The game
thing
too
is,
was an F.
I think the dunk contest, there's two issues. Like, one, it's hard to create new dunks, but we've seen it, like the Mac McClung one where he was up in the air, caught it twice. That was tough. Something I don't think
Fucking
we've seen
lit.
before, at least in that variation.
That was a 50, and they didn't
It
give it
was.
to
And
him.
also,
Yeah.
I've seen some street ball clips of dunks, and the creativity
It
is
But
there.
the thing is, would you rather have street ball dunkers or NBA dunk? Like, I don't know. You know what I mean? I don't know.
I
feel
understand
like
the
there's
argument.
like different types of athleticism where that's like a very specific
There's-
type.
we
NBA
can-
players can't practice those dunks.
We can get an elite group of dunkers in All-Star Weekend.
Yes.
Like John Morant, if he were to want to do the dunk contest, I firmly believe he could do some crazy shit we've never seen.
I agree. Yeah, I
I
agree.
think Zion Williamson, all jokes aside about how you think that his physique is, he still has some of the best bunnies in the game, and I think that he could do something relatively creative. Donovan Mitchell is a slam dunk champion himself. I think that he's kind of past that. He already won. But we've seen in game that Anthony Edwards, he's another one that has pretty good bounce to him. I think I would kind of categorize him in the Jaylen Brown, where he's a good in-game dunker. Don't know if he'd be a slam dunk type or slam dunk competitor, But we still have some stars in this league that have some pretty great bounce to them. So I feel like there is a way to save it, but I can't blame them for not wanting to do it with the idea that, hey, God forbid, jumping is where you get injured. That's legitimately where you get injured. But we have seen this game for a long list of years where we've seen some historic legends compete in the slam dunk competition. So I feel like that's how you can save it, but we've been begging for that for some time. And the best slam dunk contest that we've gotten in recent memory, I look to that Derrick Jones, Aaron Gordon in Miami. That was a good slam dunk contest. But, of course, the best is 2016. We're chasing 2016 where Levine was doing 360 laybacks. He was fucking slamming, dunking from the free throw line, through the legs from the free throw line, alley-oop from the free throw line, and, of course, Aaron Gordon sitting in there. We've never seen that before. It's gonna be tough, but it makes us appreciate moments like that where 2016, this is when Levine was a slam dunk competitor and had won it the year before, but he wasn't this breakout star that he became eventually. Aaron Gordon really wasn't anything solidified in that regard either. But they gave us a great competition. One of the best we've ever seen. Probably, in my opinion, the best ever. Because we got, from two guys, nothing but perfect content.
Yeah.
You know, the thing is that I don't really think it matters about having stars. I think it just matters about having great dunks.
That's
so
true.
I don't think, Ja Moran has to be in it for it to be a headline. I do think the NBA, I think it would be amazing if he was in it, but we don't need him for it to be great. You just need great dunks. And I look to some of the worst dunks I've seen on the weekend and on the event. Obi Toppin dunking in some Timbs was really ridiculous.
That was Cole Anthony.
That was Obi Toppin too.
Cole Anthony did too, though, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, Obi Toppin dunked in some Timbs, and it's a regular dunk. You just have Timbs on.
Let's also never forget Jericho Sims. That was the saddest shit I ever seen in my life.
These players just don't try with these dunks. I feel like the NBA, instead of having the dunk contest be something where it's like you are begging someone to participate in, you have these players send some highlight tapes of what they can do, and then you select them from that. And I'm talking about like empty gym, an actual creative dunk, not something just in a game. And you have to incentivize it somehow. If you're a role player and this dunk contest is the chance for you to get $500,000 or $1 million, you were
his biggest check every year.
Yeah, you are definitely wanting to participate in the dunk contest every single year. The dunk contest though can be bad. I feel like the All-Star game being this terrible is the biggest issue. 200 points was ridiculous. Nobody tried, and I feel like the All-Star game used to mean something to players. I understand the idea of not wanting to get hurt, but what this has become for younger stars and how they take it as a joke, Jokic, Luka, Anthony Edwards being the main culprits of this weekend, taking it like a complete joke. I just feel like there's a lack of awareness. This is supposed to be the best pickup game in basketball. You got the best players in the world competing, and they do try harder in open runs. Like, they do. And then when they're in front of millions, they're not trying at all.
It sucks because you guys know I love the All-Star game. So it's something I look forward to every single NBA season. I've said it pretty religiously. You make fun of me for saying that it's one of my favorite days of the year, but I've watched some elite All-Star games. I can't help but think back to that first year they did the draft system where LeBron and Kevin Durant are playing defense on Steph Curry. I can't help but think about when LeBron drafted Giannis, Jokic, Luka, Steph Curry. I mean, we have seen some fun basketball when LeBron James hits that fadeaway game winner over Zach LaVine, when it's coming down to the very wire where LeBron's team's down by 20 points and Kawhi Leonard goes on this crazy run and they bring him back into the game. I believe that was 2020. We've seen some great basketball recently, so it sucks that the last 2 years have really clouded what has been years and years of really, really strong basketball in the All-Star game. But, yesterday when we were on Bleacher Report, it sucked that LeBron's name got brought up in one of the reasons why All-Star Weekend has become a joke, when I don't believe that's true. I think when the game has been close, you've seen LeBron James lock in, play some high-level basketball, play some really, at least visually pleasing basketball. Giannis, every single season, he goes and is in the All-Star Weekend. He goes and he competes at the highest level possible. It sucks that two of the top 4 or 5 players in the world, in Luka and Jokic, don't give a fuck about this game. And if Jokic were to really try in the All-Star game, it would be pretty crazy to see because you understand how dominant he is on a night-in, night-out basis. Same with Luka, obviously. But when two of the best in the game don't care, we're not going to watch a product that we want to really sit down and enjoy what we're watching, because ultimately these are two of the best. And if they're not giving 100%, why should we as fans want to watch that product? So to me, it sucks. Last 2 years we've seen LeBron get injured, where now that's really why guys are really trying to take it easy. But the way to fix this, and I feel like it's an idea that's getting brought up all over the place on Twitter, is the obvious one. You make the All-Star game, the winner of it hosts home court in the finals. Whether if you're the West, if you're the East, if you win it, you get home court advantage in the finals. Now, we saw that in the major leagues in terms of Major League Baseball, where they did it for years. The one issue was like from 97 to 2009, the American League won every single year. So every single year, the American League was hosting the World Series. Inevitably, they did change off that. But it's a game of basketball. They play a bunch of basketball games, and like you mentioned, in open runs, they give a bunch of effort. What's any different in the All-Star game? You're playing the best competition. Don't you want to solidify yourself as better than the guy on the opposing side? To me, that's what would make sense as a competitor myself. Hey, but I'm not in the NBA. I'm not in any of these levels, but I'm still competitive in my own right. I would still want to go up face and face. Like me and Riv, we're friends, but I still will jokingly say I'm better than him at basketball. If I'm Luka and I'm going up against another guy in the East, see, it could be Cat, but I'll still say it just so we can have some competition there. But if I'm Luka and I'm going up against Tyrese Halliburton, and Tyrese Halliburton's getting really big hype this season, I know I'm Luka Doncic. I'm better than him. I want to kill him. I want to get mine. So that's where I kind of have issue with this, but that's the way to fix it. Make it mean something for the regular season.
That's how you make me feel right now.
There you go. Get fired up. I love All-Star Weekend. It sucks that it's getting destroyed like this.
Oh, it's a complete joke right now.
I'd be
It's
so
terrible.
pissed if the All-Star game decided home court advantage, bro. I'd be so pissed. Seeing
Why?
Boston, you got 7 games, and it's like, oh, fucking Scotty Barnes didn't give a shit, so he didn't try. It's like,
I just hate the idea that there always got to be more incentives for something or for these players to try. Oh, you want them to try in an All-Star game? You got to make the pool $2 million for them to go after it.
I just don't know if there's really a fix to the All-Star game, because even in the last few years, it's no one plays defense till the fourth quarter, so you're still getting 36 minutes of a bunch of fucking around, and then, when both teams fuck around, it's close in the fourth quarter, that's great, but what happens like this past year?
That's fine.
Yeah, but
That's all I ask for.
I know, but that's the issue where it's like, you just basically need the game to be close at the end. How can you fix that?
Yeah,
that's difficult to do.
Like, bro, I don't mind them actually playing basketball. That doesn't they could play zero defense, but as long as they're actually playing basketball, I will find it somewhat enjoyable. Then the fourth quarter you lock in. But I mean, the shots, the shots these people are taking, the logo shots. Luka, what did he do? He took a full court shot essentially, and
2 for 1,
and then tweeted and talked about analytics. Like, when you do those type of things, it just ruins the game. It's like, I don't want to watch Harlem Globetrotters right now.
I agree.
I want to watch. If you guys are not going to try on defense, that's fine. But at least show that you actually care about the product somewhat. Don't make it unwatchable, and I feel like right now it has become unwatchable. Jacque Vaughn got fired from the Nets.
Can I say the last thing about this
Yes.
All-Star game? I know I spoke a lot, and I'm sorry about that.
We need more people like you.
I'm sad that they went away from the draft. I get it, West and East. It makes a lot of sense. It's classic. But the draft was another aspect of All-Star Weekend that you look forward to. You're getting teammates that never would happen. Like when Steph and Kevin Durant were on the same team and LeBron was able to take KD away from Steph. That was exciting. To see Giannis and Steph and Jokic and Luka team up with LeBron, that was exciting. It's just a great aspect of the game to see just unusual pairings in All-Star Weekend, where I feel like you take away that aspect. Now there's another thing that we're not looking forward to in the All-Star break. And we've seen some great games with the draft. I mean, I'm looking at 1, 2, 3, 4 single-digit games in the last 6 years in All-Star Weekend. That's why it's kind of tough, where I've seen some good basketball, and it sucks these last couple of years. It's ruined it.
Jacque Vaughn got fired from the Nets. 71-68 record with the Nets in total. 0 for 8 in the playoffs. Has not won a game in the playoffs. One with KD and Kyrie against the Celtics, got swept. And then these playoffs against the Sixers, they got swept. They're 21-33, 11th place in the East. According to Ian Begley from SNY, several players lost confidence in Jacque Vaughn, and this firing comes after the Celtics just beat them by 50 points. Now, Riv, I'm going to go to you first because the interim coach is Kevin Ollie, won a championship at UConn 2014. So what are the Nets getting in Kevin Ollie? And also a report from Woj came out that they're rebuilding this roster around Mikal Bridges.
I believe he coached the Shabazz Napier team. If I'm not either that or the Kemba Walker team. Somebody could fact check.
Probably Shabazz Napier's 2014.
Yeah, I believe it was Shabazz Napier, though. Great player in college. One of my favorite players. Kevin Ollie was a great leader in UConn. He was great with his adjustments. Great leader, great motivator. He was somebody that walked into that locker room and demanded respect. And I think Vaughn didn't do that this year. I think Vaughn, put his team in funny situations, put his team in an offense they did not want to be a part of, as Bridges was complaining about it. And also, he didn't give his young players they didn't have any real relationship when it comes to on-court situations like him and Cam Thomas. Cam Thomas always got the wrong end of the shoe. He had never got to full load of what he could have done. So I think that was I fucked up?
No, not at all.
Oh, it's because I got it right?
No, you're good.
No, it's just a Rev one-of-one analogy.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate that.
It's good. Creativity.
So I think Vaughn was going to get fired. I thought it'd be end of the year. Didn't expect them to come back from the All-Star break, and he's gone. But I think this is an interesting one, especially with them building around Mikal Bridges. Mikal Bridges is an interesting player. Last year, 20 to 25 games, he was on fire with the Nets. He caught people off guard, and they say when you first get on the scene, the scouting report is not out on you. Now you walk into this year, you had a full offseason of what Mikal Bridges can do. You don't have a definitive point guard for that team that can run the offense, that can put Bridges in perfect spots for him to create, because his main ingredients is coming off the pin downs, working well in those departments. He can put the ball on the floor, but that's not really what you want him to do. So you don't have a point guard for that. Then you had a bunch of good players on the team, but not anybody that really moves the needle. Cam Thomas has his moments, but he doesn't get played as often as he should. Mikal Bridges, we know, is a number 3. Claxton is improving in his own on the defensive end and on the offensive end, but he's not a guy you're going to go to as your offensive engine night in and night out. And then Cam Johnson is a role player. So you had a bunch of that going for you, and Vaughn just couldn't get these guys to come together as a collective. Now, do I think building around Bridges is the smart idea? No, but this team doesn't have their picks for a while. It's either swaps or they're just straight to Houston. So they're going to have to figure out some things. They do have some Philly picks. They do have some picks to toss around, but you have to realize Mikal Bridges is not a player you build around. He's just not, especially at this age, 27, 28 years old. You kind of start that a little bit earlier. Even with Utah getting lucky with Laurie, He gave you elite production, and he's still doing that. And this team is a pretty competitive team, and Laurie's game is just more defined to build around in terms of just, bringing guys in. I think for the Nets, they've always, for the past 15 to 20 years, maybe a little less, built their teams off bringing in guys. You look at, the Darren Williams teams, the Paul Pierce KG teams with Gerald Wallace. They had Darren Williams, Gerald Wallace, and Joe Johnson first, I believe. Then brought in KG and Paul Pierce. They built that team like that. Then they went away from that. They had the Kevin Durant, James Harden, Kyrie team. Then they had just Kevin Durant, Kyrie. So they've always built these teams through trades, through trying to, make the big splash move. And I think they're waiting for that again. But to build around Bridges is just not the answer for me. And Vaughn, honestly, he deserved to get fired. I just didn't think it would happen at this point.
It's interesting because they've tried to make the big move in terms of getting the best players that are available in free agency or making some trades where now for the first time they're trying to build, for the first time in a while, I should say, they're trying to build around a young player. It's unfortunate that this player that they're trying to build around, we just have come to an agreement that he's not a number 1. So to formulate your entire team around Mikal Bridges is a tough look. But, this is them trying to do something different. It's just unfortunate that they're choosing a player that's not of that caliber to do so. But he, again, had shown flashes last season, so I can understand them coming into this season with that idea. But you have to know from what he's shown you so far, over 50 games into the season, that he's not a number 1 option. For you to consistently reiterate and double down that this is our number 1 guy, this is who we want to build our team around, that's where I feel like you got to adjust and start to pivot at one point in time where you have this asset that is worth a good amount of draft picks that can help you in the future. Draft picks that you don't have, maybe it's time to make that move and really do a hard reset. You don't want to be caught in the middle. You don't want to be the Chicago Bulls, where I look at Chicago and think they're in a better position than Brooklyn because at the minimum they have a great player in DeMar DeRozan who isn't as valuable as he once was, but let's not talk about this year, but let's talk about 2 years ago, where they're just caught in the middle. You have an all-star in Zach LaVine, you have an all-star in DeMar DeRozan, but that wasn't enough to get you over the hump. And now it's gotten to the point where LaVine's out for the season, DeMar's not that same player, and now their ascending player is Kobe White, who we're still wondering what their ceiling is with him. But they're not going anywhere with players that are better than what the Nets have. So I think that they need to cut their losses. This was step one. Get rid of the coach and Jacque Vaughn, who has not been that great for them this season, especially with the middle of the packed cast, the role player super team. But at the same time, understand that you need to build something for the future. And right now, you look at Brooklyn; they don't have one.
The Nets made a mistake. They made a mistake in being too impatient. I understand that the drama around the Nets was a lot. It was a lot to handle. But I was looking at this the other day, and it kind of caught me by surprise. But then I ended up remembering, and I'm like, yeah, this is exactly how it happened. The Nets brought in KD and Kyrie the same year the Clippers signed Kawhi and traded for Paul George. Yep. In those 4 years, the Clippers they blew a 3-1 lead, the Clippers did, the first year together. Western Conference Finals loss, Kawhi got hurt. Their third year missed the playoffs, Kawhi missed the entire year, Paul George was unhealthy too. And then they lost in the first round, Kawhi was hurt. In all those seasons, Steve Ballmer could have pivoted, and he could have said, we're just going to cut our losses, and this is not going to work out. But what Steve Ballmer understood that Joe Tsai, the owner of the Nets, didn't understand is that having superstar talent on your team is rare. And it doesn't come around often where you actually have real championship expectations, especially if you're a franchise like the Clippers or the Nets. The Nets, since they signed Kyrie and KD, first round loss, but KD did not play the entire season, and Kyrie was out, only played 20 games and then missed the entire year.
He was nuts in that 20 games.
So the first year was essentially a redshirt year for them.
Yep.
Their second year, they lost in the second round. KD was historic. Harden and Kyrie were hurt. That's probably the biggest reason why they lost. You could point to that point in time. Their third year together, first round loss. Harden was traded midseason. Kyrie and the COVID stuff and the stuff about anti-Semitism, that was brought up, and there was a lot of controversy around the team. Harden was only with the Nets for 1 year. And then in their fourth year together, Kyrie gets traded and KD gets traded. This is only a team that was together for 2 years. The duo of KD and Kyrie were only together for 2 years. They were only fully healthy for one playoff run. And Harden was only there for a year. It's too impatient. It was too impatient. They sold on players, and now they're stuck. Where at least if you extended Kyrie Irving, even if it was a little bit too much, that now assures that you have Kevin Durant on the roster. You maybe could have tried to make James Harden somewhat happy, even though I think he probably was already set on leaving. But even then, with Kyrie and KD and Claxton and how he's ascended, Cam Thomas coming off the bench, who's a great player, I think, especially for a bench role in the spark plug. I mean, the Nets would have still been contenders in the East right now. And they were too impatient, and they sold off. And now we see the Clippers, they tried for years to figure this thing out. They found the missing piece in James Harden, and now they're one of the favorites in the West, and this is the healthiest they've looked. Steve Ballmer remained patient. There were times where he could have given up, but he wasn't like Joe Tsai, and he saw the bigger picture, and that's why the Clippers, hopefully this year, can be rewarded for that patience.
And they definitely, and over the course of the years, you've seen the Clippers continue to build around the stars, even if they are hurt. You know, Norman Powell, Marcus Morris at a point, Batum. They brought in Robert Covington. Zubac. They brought in Westbrook. They had Zubac. Like they've always
Mason Plumlee.
They brought in Daniel for some short time. PJ Tucker. They brought. So they've always found a way to not only outsmart the Nets in terms of just, you know, keeping guys around the stars, even though they're hurt, we're going to build guys. Reggie Jackson, I can't forget him. We're going to continue to build this roster as if they are here. They continue to bring in and plug in guys. The Nets just kind of are like, nah, we're not going to do it. So that's a great point, bro.
How many times did we say when they traded Kevin Durant? At least I said, you're responsible now for trading James Harden, Kyrie Irving, Kevin Durant. We should all look at you, point, and laugh.
It's not the best look. Do you think it's a little bit different though because of kind of the route Kyrie took at first, and then once Kyrie was off the team, KD was like, all right, what am I doing here compared to the Clippers where Kawhi and Paul George, they might have been hurt, but there wasn't at least drama around them, contracts wanting to be in LA.
I think the difference, and that's a great point, Dehls. I think the difference is that Kawhi and Paul George, to me, it feels like they're always on the same page.
I agree.
Always.
They
PG always
understand,
follows Kawhi.
Yeah, they understand what they want.
I get it.
They understand what they want, and they work together.
You know, Kawhi is a robot.
Kawhi's different.
Yeah, when
He's
he's in the
different.
mode, you know, listen, PG has came out multiple. That's our guy. He's a leader. When he needs me to step up, I will. Kyrie wasn't really giving that. Kyrie gives, I'm the best player in the room, no matter what room I walk in.
Listen, Kyrie's had issues in different places.
It's been a wild card.
He's had issues with LeBron, so I can't expect he wouldn't have issues with anybody.
And I
in
think
Boston.
that's the biggest difference is that Harden left because of Kyrie not getting the vaccine, which is a personal decision. But Harden left because Kyrie wasn't playing and KD was hurt and Harden had a backpack and he was like, I did this in Houston. I don't want to do this in Brooklyn. I want to go and I want to compete. Because for Harden, he was and still is desperate for a championship. KD has won. Kyrie has won. They don't need it no more. That's why the Clippers is a great fit. And that's why the Sixers were too, because Joel Embiid wants a championship. Kawhi wants another one. Paul George wants his first. Russell Westbrook wants his first. Tyronn Lue wants to win without LeBron. So I think it's just a better environment. Kyrie Irving was a wild card. Really was.
Kevin Durant and Kyrie want another.
Remember, they came together.
They already have one. It's not as desperate as Harden.
I think KD wants his one without Steph,
does.
just like Steph won his.
I think
does, but
KD's at a point now where it's like, I just want hope.
There's no player. There's no player that's content with what they just have, unless
Anthony
you're
Davis,
done.
remember he came out with that.
He said he has nothing left to prove, but that doesn't mean he's not hungry still.
That's a good point. But I do think like Harden was just desperate, and he was with the Nets, and he looked around and said, "Y'all are just fucking around. Like y'all are just wasting my time. You guys are not focused on playing ball." And Harden just got sick of it, and that's why he requested a trade.
Tried Embiid first,
and that's why I feel like
Kawhi's better.
Yeah, for sure.
Harden was the one that I feel like if they could have convinced him to stay, if Kyrie and KD had those conversations, like, listen, right now it's kind of rough, but you know, Steve Nash is going to get up out of here soon. No, they could probably convince him to stay. I think, you know, they probably would have won a championship or had a great chance at winning one.
And also, probably hiring Steve Nash probably wasn't the best situation to have all of these superstars who have had egos, who've had issues in the past with, you know, either the cities they're in, other teammates, vaccines. There's so much shit going on. Steve Nash being a first-time head coach, although legendary NBA player, don't know if he was the perfect coach to be put in that situation.
Golden State.
He was. And Jacque Vaughn, I mean, it's tough. It's hard to imagine a coach that could be put on this Nets team and they're not fired within a couple of seasons. The talent just isn't there. And it's going to be hard for them to obtain more talent, as you guys mentioned, not having your draft picks. And your best player is Mikal Bridges. And I understand on one end, you need to sell somebody to the fans and to potentially other free agents saying, listen, we got a guy we think can be that dude. We don't think he could be the number one, as you mentioned, Drew. But you have Mikal, who could be, you know, a number two, maybe on an ECF team if you got a lot of good players around him. I'm speaking just the perfect situation or best case scenario. Realistically, yeah, number three. You know what's crazy? Maybe four.
Jacque Vaughn went from having Kevin Durant and them being like a top 3 seed in the East just last year, probably like towards the December-January mark.
Until KD got hurt. It ruined everything.
Got hurt. And they was rolling. They was doing their thing, and now he got fired. That's like crazy.
Remember those conversations that without KD, Kyrie would be able to keep this team afloat?
Who said that?
Remember those? Just
a
just
guy
at the
to
table.
my left.
Just at the table.
When you said Tatum was better than Luka?
Stand on that. We're here.
Yeah, I get it. Nah, it is what it is, you know. The Nets team, it's going to be hard to rebuild that team, but they've done it before.
Claxton's a free agent, too.
Yo, if Tatum wins an MVP before Luka Doncic.
You think it's going to be this year?
I'm just asking you a question. What did we do there?
Yo, there's been some pushing for Tatum over All-Star Weekend.
What did we just do there?
Bro?
I like it.
So you
I feel like a lot of outlets
better
have
off
been pushing it.
accolades.
I'm just wondering. I'm asking you a question.
He said he was the best player in the league.
I think Luka is Luka still. Doesn't change my
Like
opinion.
Andrews interview.
And I think Luka got a better chance to win MVP.
But he should think that.
Yes.
Of course.
He's better keep climbing those standings.
He will.
That's all he said. Tatum just said that every time I step on the court, I feel like I'm the best player.
I feel like everybody says that.
Which, if you're a superstar in the league, you have to feel that.
You know, Jacque Vaughn. Another thing. I want to criticize Jacque Vaughn on.
He's a lot.
Jacque Vaughn came into the season building the offense with the Nets around Ben Simmons.
I did see that. I don't know if that's I don't know if that's true.
Genius.
Because
Who
Ben,
reported that?
he didn't even
Terrible.
start the year
It
with
was
them.
Or did he
I
like?
think it was on
press
ESPN.
conference?
It was Woj.
He started healthy.
Yeah.
He started healthy.
So here's the thing.
He only played like 12
When
games.
Ben was on the court,
They had motion consistency.
it was lit.
Yeah, they were good. They were solid.
Can I
it
pull up
was
the
lit.
PvP numbers?
Yes, you could. Ben was really good.
Let me do
It sucks that he got hurt.
No, Drew.
But building your offense around a player that is injury prone is crazy.
I understand his playmaking was so damn good. He's not a scorer. We know this. But his ability to facilitate an offense and let it go. Talk to me, because the PPP is
So their record
not
with
good.
record with Ben Simmons this year is 6-6.
Okay, which is perfect because when he's on and off, they're the same team. 115 on, 115 off. So that's beautiful. Defense, 116 on, 118 off. So it's nothing.
Not
Forget
drastic.
6-6 makes perfect sense.
Yeah, they're an average team.
Yep.
They're an average team.
There we go. Now let's look at Mikal Bridges. Let's have some fun here.
God bless Mikal
man.
Bridges. Also, kind
This
of getting
podcast
shit on
slanders
by
Mikal too much, honestly.
kind of getting shit on by Josh Hart and Jalen Brunson on their podcast. Kind of nuts. Like
Wow, what
he
did
was
he
just
say
sitting
about him?
there and just.
they were basically saying like the Knicks own the Nets. Like, and he's not really wrong. But also, if I'm a Nets fan, this is my
talk
franchise
shit
player.
back.
You're not even gonna be like
I think Mikal just wants out.
I think he wants to be in New York. with his
out.
guys.
If I'm him,
do
I'd be
too.
like, well, shit. I mean, when's the last time y'all got out of the second round? It's been the same time
Can
for us.
any
You know
of
what I
y'all
mean? Like,
guard
I
me?
would say
I would have been
something.
like, can any of y'all guard me?
Because
It's
at
just,
heart,
you know,
Mikal is still a son.
Is it?
He
Is
might be
that it?
still at Villanova.
Okay, he
Nah,
probably
I'm
felt like he was just with the
crying.
boys.
So you guys want to hear his
Sure.
on the court 115, off the court 117. They actually get better when he gets off. on
Maybe
both
because
sides
Cam
of the ball.
Thomas. You should check them Cam Thomas numbers.
No, what's the defense? though?
Offensively.
Can you tell me the defense?
You've also
119
seen.
when he's off. 117 when he's on.
I
they're
forgot,
2 points better
I forgot
on
where I
defense.
heard this, but the Lakers' defense is better without Anthony Davis on the court this year.
Ooh, let me double check. Some numbers could be
Nuts.
fluky.
We're looking at Cam Thomas first. What's
Cam Thomas, they get significantly better when he gets off.
offense
Yes,
only.
they get significantly better. It's 113 when he's on and 118 when he's off. They get
Check
significantly
the AD shit.
Defense, all right. Defense is 120 when he's on, 115 when he's off. They actually get way better when he's off the team. Yeah. Okay. On to the next. More important
Tough look.
people.
I don't like analytics, man.
That's a lot. That's funny.
EPA.
I love
He's the
EPA.
EPA merchant.
Man, I put y'all on to EPA, man.
So
I got
AD,
success.
no,
Like,
AD's actually wrong.
Oh, is it?
AD when they're on. Oh no, I lied. Offense. No, I'm not lying.
Defense.
AD when they're on. Offense 117, off 111. Defense when they're on 117, when they're off 113. So yeah, the defense.
That's crazy.
But the offense jumps off the fucking building when he's off the court.
That shit's irrelevant to me.
I'm not saying in
No, you
one way or
watch.
another.
You,
It's
like,
just-
you prefer the
it's
ice.
just
I ain't
weird.
mad at you about it. You watch games more than anybody.
He's the fucking GOAT.
Yeah, he's all right.
yeah, he's all right. Oh man, that's gonna do
Okay,
it
'cause
for
Steph
this
shit looks crazy
episode
too. So I'm not mad at you.
of the Pick a Side Podcast, episode 354. You guys can follow us on Instagram and TikTok at Pick a Side Podcast, on Twitter at Pick a Side Pod. 2K League. We're
2K.
dropping a
We're locking
2K
in.
League.
We're locking in.
Listen, Drew wants to do 15 teams.
streaming.
We're gonna ride with whatever he's
I'm gonna
throwing.
randomly select the 11. We're gonna do. I think it's 15 teams. So I'm gonna randomly select 11. Hopefully you guys are selected, and it should be fun.
And if you guys want the league to feature more teams, you guys have to beg. You have to get on your knees.
no,
and
no.
beg.
No, he's
UConn's down 20 to Creighton.
Creighton's a good team, but goddamn,
shout out to the Big East. Man.
they've just been the unanimous number one team for like a week or two.
So thank you guys for watching, and we'll see you guys next time.